All right, guys, I'm talking to Louis-Olivier. He has the North Investor YouTube channel. We are going through his $169,641 portfolio. He has 5 ETFs, 10 stocks. We're going to break them all down. This is a very young man. He's 26 years old. He's got his SHIT together. So let's get into it. We have ETF number one, the Vanguard S&P 500 VFV, everyone's favorite. This tracks the S&P 500 US large cap stocks. Why did you pick it? Which account do you hold it in? Just give us your breakdown.
Well, first of all, I've decided to invest in VAV. As you said, it's a fan favorite. I think that a lot of different Canadians and I guess worldwide investors decide to invest in an ETF that is tracking. For me, the global American market by tracking basically the 500 largest American companies by valuation. So for me, as you said, it's pretty much a no-brainer. I think that historically, it is one of the best things that any investors can do. And for me, it has been the ETF that I'm looking to just continue to buy more and more over time. I'm looking to even add more shares to my portfolio of this ETF because right now it's only worth still about, I think, 11% of my total assets. But I would like to eventually increase even more this ponderation to maybe 20, 25%. Not in the short term, it will take time, but I just want to eventually add more shares of this ETF, and it has been able to perform pretty well these past couple of years. So I would say that for me, it was very one of the easiest decisions to pick this one.
It's my favorite ETF. You have $17,710 in it. That's as of July. It's probably increased or something since then, as of early July. I'm getting this information from the video on his channel. You're going to see a link to his YouTube channel in the first pinned comment and the description. So check it out. You'll see the video that I'm referring to. So is your VFV held in your TFSA? Is that what you said? Or where are you holding it?
Yeah, I do hold it in my TFSA as well as I also have a unregistered account where I also have multiple different other stocks and ETFs in it. But right now, I only have it in my TFSA and in my non-registered account. So yeah.
All right. I think everyone knows everything about VFE at this point, so we're gonna blast right by this one because I talk about it to death on the channel. Let's get to number two, Global X High Interest Savings ETF. This ticker for that is CASH, CASH. It's a high yield savings ETF for liquidity and real estate projects. You have $10,851 in it. Explain what account you're keeping it in, your logic behind buying it.
Yeah, one more time, I hold this ETF in my a little bit in my TFSA and a little bit also in my non-registered account because right now, as we'll see potentially later on in the podcast, I have multiple real estate projects that I want to be able to operate in the near future, and I currently have a triplex, so I have different fees that I need to pay. And so I need to have a direct liquidity fund in which I can have access when I need it. So I'm basically using it right now to pay the different expenses I have at the beginning of September. I will have to pay my last part of my taxes, my municipal taxes to pay. I also have different other expenses right now. I need to repair one windows in my apartment. So I use it really like globally as a big cash. Like I don't want to keep my cash and in my bank. I just want to have a way to invest it basically in a high interest savings account. And for me, cash is the way to go on that side.
Is this accurate? The yield, 3.31%. Did that sound about right to you? 12-month dividend yield?
I will take a look at it, but I think it's a little bit lower because they've obviously the yield right now it's at 2.50. I can see as of August 6, 2025, it is of 2.55%. So it has been lowering these past couple of months because obviously when the Bank of Canada decides to lower the policy rate, it impacts all the different rates. So it's a bit lower, but yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some of these cash ones around the 4 to 5% range for yield. Have you explored other options and this is what you landed on?
At the moment, no, I'm really keeping it because I've seen like cash. I've bought it initially. I've decided to invest in that ETF. Initially, it was maybe 1 or 2 years ago when the yield was maybe around 5% and more.
Yeah. Okay.
So like I've just decided to keep it. But obviously, there would be other options potentially to look for the highest yields. I'm not necessarily like looking
That's
at at these options right now, but for
It's not
sure
a
there.
priority. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not really a
exactly.
priority.
Yeah,
You have a target increase for this. Like you mentioned, you're trying to target increase your Vanguard to 20 to 25%. Your Vanguard was at 11%. This allocation's at 6.74% of your portfolio.
yep,
You're trying to target increases to 10 to 15%. So you're just trying to keep more cash on hand. You got a lot of real estate stuff going on. So you
yep.
just that's the logic behind it. Just keep accumulating some cash for other stuff that you need to use it for. We'll collect
Yeah,
your interest.
exactly. Because right now, we'll talk about it, I think, later on, but I'm looking to basically pay back my mortgage faster. So I'm looking to just put more cash on my mortgage because I want to be able to refinance it potentially at the beginning of next year to buy a sixplex. And usually the sixplex over here in Quebec can range between, I'd say, 800 to $1.1 million. So, it
Hey,
it can be costly. So I want to make sure to have like a certain liquidity reserve to notably pay the initial taxes that I need to pay and everything. That here we have different special taxes that I don't know if you have like for example, that could be a good question to ask you. Do you know if you have like it's called a welcoming tax here in Quebec that you need to pay like when you buy a new property? Do you have it in other
a well
provinces?
a welcoming tax. So
Yeah.
every time, no, I'm not the real estate expert, but
Okay.
you're saying when you buy a property, you have to pay a special tax
Yeah.
just for buying that property.
Exactly. It's called the welcome tax here. In French,
We
it's
have we have unique taxes on when you sell a property outside of your primary residence, like selling,
yeah,
you have
yeah,
tax.
yeah.
And we have unique benefits if your primary residence, you don't actually pay any tax on it. But
hmm
if you have a secondary property selling, I've never heard of a welcoming tax. But
Okay.
I think that's a good question. And we're pretty early in this podcast, so a lot of people are listening right now. Can you please comment below? Do we have a welcoming tax in British Columbia? That's where I am, because that
hmm
seems a little weird. Maybe it's just a French Canadian thing that you have to deal
Yeah, it
with.
might be only in Quebec. Sometimes we have like a quite some high tax brackets over here. So, like for example, I can give you the example. I've bought my last triplex, my triplex that I currently have for about $554,000, and I've paid about $6,300 of welcoming tax initially, just that I had to pay to buy the property. So you see,
That
that's like
was that your first property that you ever owned, or have you had multiple already?
no, it's the first one. It's the first one that I bought
We
one
get
year.
Yeah, so we get if you buy your first property and it's under a certain amount, you actually have to pay less. There's like benefits to that. You get first home buyers.
Yeah,
There's a whole thing. You don't get that. So you're getting that's so weird. That's so like de-incentivized. It's makes you not want to buy if you
yeah,
have to pay
but
that rent.
it's basically every time, and it's a percentage, a certain percentage of the value of the property that you are buying. So it goes like that. I don't know like specifically what is the amount, but the more the value of the property
Of
is
the house.
high, the more you'll pay in welcome tax. For example, if I buy a property at $1 million, it will cost me more in terms of the welcome tax compared to like if I buy a property of like $500,000. So that's a
That's
bit.
that's that's really weird. Does
Yeah.
BC have a welcome tax like Quebec for buying properties? And then, guys, we're going to move on to ETF number three while I look at this. So, ETF number three is the iShares Core Equity Portfolio ETF XEQT. Um, talk a bit about that, and we'll talk more about the welcoming tax in a bit as well. But let's just keep moving through this list. We have XEQT, everyone's favorite one ETF solution. I guess I have a couple questions quickly about this. You already own VFV. Why not build out a customized three ETF portfolio that covers XEQT? Where are you holding XEQT? Which account again? And your allocation here is 3% of your portfolio. You have $4,830 in it. So yeah, just break that down a bit.
Yeah, so right now I've decided to also invest in XQT initially because I want to have international exposure. I know that another way for me to have international exposure could be potentially to invest directly in other, well, I mean, international ETFs, for example, that are tracking emerging markets, or it could be also like European markets. But I've decided to just invest in XQT because for me, it is the best global stock market tracker and like to track the whole market because I have some kind of interest also in different markets worldwide, for example, the European markets or the Asian markets, where you could have potential great growth over the next couple of years that could be coming from these markets. And with like, there is like, there might be, we don't necessarily know if it will happen, but right now there is a big war between China and the US in terms of who's going to be like the next big superpower in terms of the economy. But there are other countries that are coming and that are like knocking at the door. I could say, for example, you have countries like Brazil, or you have countries like in all Asia, Japan, that I love, different companies that are found there. So I want to make sure to have a certain exposure to these companies in my portfolio. And for me, I feel like XQT is one of the best ways for me to just invest not too much of my assets, but a certain portion of it in it. And at the same time, as you mentioned, it also covers a big portion of the American market where I have big convictions into the market. As we'll see later on, I have multiple tech companies in my portfolio because I'm really aiming for growth at the moment as well. So, I feel like it's a great way to also diversify geographically my portfolio, and yeah.
And that's in your TFSA as well and non-reg?
Yeah, exactly. In those two accounts as well. Yeah.
Okay, so far, what you're doing is you've got XQT for overall global exposure with broad exposure in America, but you love America and you want concentrated exposure there as well. So that's why you have VFV for concentrated on the S&P 500.
Yeah.
You're a real estate guy. You want to have some cash on hand. That's why you have Global X high interest savings. Everything you've said so far makes sense. This is all makes sense.
Great summary. Yeah.
Yeah. And the reason why I'm summarizing is notice how he's building his portfolio to his unique circumstances. And that's what I hope people get out of this. They understand that you got to craft it for your circumstances in life. You're building a portfolio out for your own personal goals, your long-term goals, right? So never do a one-to-one. Like, take what he's doing, cherry pick the parts that apply to your life. Number 4, ETF number 4. And by the way, really quickly, BC property transfer tax. There's a 1% on the first 200,000, 2% on 200,000 to 2 million, 3% on amounts over 2 million. We do have a welcome tax, but we don't call it a welcome tax.
Yeah. Okay.
That's really confusing. Yeah. We have a property transfer tax, and definitely we have that. So okay. That's what we call it. So yes, we do, I guess. So we just don't say welcome. I guess French Canadians, they found a happier way of saying tax. Welcome tax.
Yeah.
It just
in French it's called la taxe de bienvenue. So it's like in the translation would be like a welcome tax. So I mean, it's not a warm welcome, but you got to do what you got to do. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. But that's sneaky. I got to try to make it sound good. Number 4, the 4th ETF we have is Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF SCHD. This is very popular for US investors, especially me personally. I did own this at one point in my RRSP because it's a US dividend paying stock. Yep. In your RRSP, you are not subject to the 15% withholding tax on US dividends. So it makes sense there. It is the note I have, a high quality US dividend paying stock. You have an allocation of 1%, which is $1,610. The yield for this, it says here 3.83 to 3.91%. That changes all the time. It's a dividend. The yearly return for SCHD is why people like it. It's got a pretty good it's got some good capital growth mixed with dividends. That's why people like it. They feel like you get a blend of the best of both worlds. Why did you pick it? You're very young. I wouldn't even play around with dividend stocks if I was you, just because you're so young. I would only go growth, like just anything growth. Are you keeping it in an RRSP? Are you even investing in an RRSP because you're so young? You probably just want to roll that over because it rolls over until your income gets so ridiculous that you can just use it for tax deference. What account are you putting it in?
Yeah, it's actually the only thing that I have in my RRSP. So that's okay. Yeah. So I've decided to invest in it. Just like right now, as you mentioned, I'm young. I don't have the big advantage. I'm not necessarily at the point in my career that I'll be earning the more money, the most money. So right now, the RRSP option might is not necessarily the most attractive one for me, especially with the different real estate projects that I have. But I've decided initially to invest in SHD. I believe it was just last year before my taxes, like before to fill my taxes, because I just want to start building my RRSP for the future without like sacrificing too much of potential like growth, because right now, as you mentioned, I have only about $1,700 or around that point in that fund. But I like the fact also to put it in the RRSP. I won't have the withholding tax to pay because it is in this account. And I like the ETF itself, even if right now it's not performing that well compared
Yeah.
to other funds. So I would say that I'm just building slowly this position, but I don't have any plan anytime soon to just like really increase this ponderation to like a big portion of my assets. So yeah.
Yeah, I have a note here where you did have a target increase of possibly increase it to 5%.
Yeah.
But you're not, it doesn't sound like you're in a rush to get it to 5%. It's just, slowly you'll build it up to 5% of your portfolio.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So number five, ETF number five, and then we're going to move on to stocks, everyone, is the iShares S&P TSX 60 ETF XIU as top 60 Canadian large cap stocks. You have $5,920. The current yield is 2.77% on this. You have a target increase for this to at least 10%. Are you I guess another question is this TFSA again, non-reg again, and how do you feel about the Canadian market? Are you a heavy investor? Do you firmly believe in the Canadian market over the US?
Yeah, well, this one is also old in both accounts. So in my unregistered and into my TFSA as well. And I've decided to invest in it. I want to eventually increase my ponderation in this ETF because, as you'll see later on, I currently have a lot of my assets invest in individual stocks. But eventually, what I want to do is to transfer a certain like most of my money into ETF. So it's why I want to increase my ponderation, for example, in VFV, in XEQT, as I mentioned, and in different other ETFs, because like when I was young, when I first started to invest, I wanted to really like buy stocks. I love the opportunity to just have a certain portion of different companies and companies that I loved. And so that was initially my goal when I was in my early 20s. But through time, I see that I've been able to do great, I call it like great home runs with different stocks where I've been able to really perform pretty well, but some other stocks haven't been able to perform well. So my goal right now is to try to reinvest. For example, I have multiple Canadian dividend stocks in my TFSA because I'm not going to pay any taxes on the dividend that I'll be earning. And eventually, I just want to kind of sell certain position and just reinvest it, for example, in XIU because it is like a big blender of all of these stocks. And I actually love the Canadian market, even if it's not necessarily the growth that we've seen with the American market these past couple of years, because the Canadian market tends to be more defensive compared to the American market, so where it will have more growth. So in periods where we have certain uncertainty on the markets, as we've seen, for example, with the tariffs or with the COVID, the Canadian market will tend to lose less value compared to the American market. But I think that they're great complements each other because, for example, the Canadian market will have great defensive stocks that will pay high dividends, and the American market, on the other hand, can currently have like great growth stocks that can give you like a great capital appreciation over a long period of time. So yeah.
That's a good way of looking at it. That's a good way of how you handle it in your portfolio and how you explained how, you're right. The American market's aggressive. It's good for growth, but if something bad happens, it's gonna get hit the hardest. Canadian, because it's more defensive, it will dip, but it won't dip as hard. So it's a great way to what's the word, like buffer your portfolio. It's like it's like a version of having a bond. it's just like a safety net in your portfolio, so it kind of
Yeah.
balances out a bit. All right, now we're going to drop into the individual stocks, and I'm pretty interested in all of this. You got quite a few here. You did kind of mention what you're doing with this. You're going to start selling off some of these positions, going heavier into the Canadian ETF, the US ETFs. Before we get into this, my just when I'm looking at you, I go, you're 26, 27, but you're getting heavy into real estate. It and it seems like you're building up a bit of an empire there. You have big plans on what you're doing with real estate, right? Hard to manage individual stocks and do real estate at the same time. It's a lot smarter just to pick index fund ETFs that have the stocks that you like anyway. You're doing this is what I'm saying. You're already kind of aggregating. That way you don't have to you can make your portfolio completely passive while
Hmm.
you focus on the hands-on stuff, because real estate is very especially the way you're doing it is very hands-on where it needs your attention, and that way you don't have to worry about missing the window to buy and sell with individual stocks, right? You just have an index fund, you contribute to it and forget about it. So I feel like that's where you're pivoting, that's where you're shifting with your
Yeah.
portfolio.
Yeah,
All right.
exactly.
All right. So now the first individual stock. So this is number six on our list here, but the first individual stock is Enbridge, ENB, Canadian energy infrastructure giant with oil gas pipelines, the energy sector. You have large positions in your whole for your portfolio. These individual stocks have large positions. You have allocation 11.36% of your portfolio, $18,290. This is your largest individual holdings. Current yield 5.99 to 6.09%. Why did you pick Enbridge? I think I know why. And what are you doing with Enbridge moving forward? I think I'm interested in what your plans are for all of these.
Yeah, well, within Bridge, I think it's one of my favorite individual Canadian companies that I have in my portfolio, and it shows it with the asset allocation that I have. I like the business model that it has. I think that it is trying to adapt itself also to the how could I say it, like to the climate change like problems that we could have in the future. For example, they have multiple projects in terms of the renewable. They have multiple renewable projects that are underway, notably in France and in different other countries. And at the same time, they are one of the largest pipeline distributor in all of North America, and they are one of the largest energy companies in the world. I love the business model. They are able to consistently like reinvest in their business to make it grow even more, and at the same time they are able to give and distribute great dividends to their shareholders. And I'm looking, as you'll see later on, I have multiple growth stocks as well in my portfolio. So I'm trying to look, as I mentioned, to have some kind of ways to receive great dividend income, even if it's not my priority. Because if we take the total dividend yield that I have on my portfolio right now, I think it's about 2.2% maximum, like the compared to my total assets. So it's not a lot, but I like to have a company like that, for example, that will pay great quarterly dividends, and that, in my opinion, has great potential, because at the end of the day, it is a company that will continue to have needs in the future. It helps us to fuel and to electrify, like to fuel houses, and to yeah. I just like the business model, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I like companies like this as well. I like any company that's essential to our infrastructure. We
Yeah.
can't function without it. You mentioned before they're investing in renewable energy and stuff. So they're trying to future proof themselves, make sure they're still relevant in 10, 20 years, and they're investing in it now. So I think you're looking at all the right stuff. You're looking at today, do we absolutely need them? Yes. But are they preparing for the future? Yes. So then you can feel confident in investing for them for the long term. You mentioned you're trying to get dividends out of these things too. So you have these stocks that have higher dividends that help when you get that 2% number.
Yeah.
This is what skews that number a little bit higher in your overall
Hmm.
portfolio. That jumps it up. Because definitely VFV and stuff don't give you dividends. All right, number 7, Toronto Dominion Bank TD, a major bank in Canada with significant U.S. operations, sector financial. You have $9,660 in this, which is 6% of your portfolio. Another good dividend player. It's 4.09% to 4.8%. Like I said, this all changes when you're looking at these yields, guys. They're going to be different. All right, I said I have a note here. Performance up 45%. So this is you just trying to get into the banks. Every Canadian I know at some point owns a bank. and has it for dividends? Is that your rationale behind this? And are you holding these individual stocks in TFSA and non-reg as well?
Yeah, most likely in the TFSA because I like the fact, as I mentioned, that the dividend is not imposed over here. So I'm trying to hold it in my TFSA as well as different. Like I have for example, the TD Bank. I have a certain portion that I also hold into my unregistered account, but it's like a smaller portion because what I have right now is that I am also subscribed to their drip program for the TD Bank. So every time that, well, basically for people that wouldn't know, like a drip program is the fact that when you receive the dividend of a certain company, or it could also be an ETF, but in that case of the TD Bank, every time that they are distributing a dividend, if you receive enough dividend income to cover the price of one share, you are able to reinvest that money directly to buy a new share of it. So my plan with TD, like back 2 years ago, if you watch some of my oldest videos, I had like four of the biggest Canadian banks. So I was like really like spread around the financial sector in Canada. But at a certain point, I've decided to just like narrow down my position to the bank that I personally prefer the most, which was the TD Bank. I like the fact that they have, like, as we mentioned, more exposure to the US market as well. The fact
Mm.
also that even if it has been some two rough years lately because they tried to acquire, I think it was the First Horizon Bank, the name of the American bank. It kind of failed because it was, I think, in 2022 or in 2023, the market like plummet, and the value of the bank was like that they've proposed to acquire. It was too high compared to what it was its true value. So they had like a ton of difficulties with that. So you've seen, if you take a look at the value of TD, the stock's value, like in 2022 and 2023, it hasn't been able to perform well. But lately, we've seen that they've been able to rebound. And since the beginning of the year, I think it's been the best Canadian bank. And, I'm just trying to also diversify my portfolio, basically not to invest only in one sector. And it's why I'll have a certain portion of my assets. I don't know what's the percentage, but
You have
it's,
six. You have 6% in TD Bank. You have $9,660 total,
yeah.
which
So,
is that's a solid position. Yeah.
yeah.
Do you know much about what TD Bank's been doing as far as the U.S. push? Yeah, a while back, I did some advertising for TD Bank, and one of the big things when I was looking at it, just as an advertiser, like, oh, they're pretty aggressively trying to get into the states, and I thought that would be a positive thing on their stock price. But like you mentioned, I think it was around that time when you mentioned when the stock price was doing that great. And I was like, oh, well, it's not correlating with stock price. So I wonder, do you think that push into the US has helped eventually sort of helping their stock price go up? Because I don't follow them very closely. I was only following them when I was doing some advertising for them. But yeah.
I think that initially what they tried to do, I think it was a great idea, but it didn't work out because, like, I think in there's like the timing in life in general, there's like if you have the timing or not in different opportunities
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So I think that the opportunity behind it was good to try to acquire the First Horizon Bank. I think that bank at the time wasn't doing well, and there was like big scandals with, I forget what was the bank that made like that went to bankruptcy in the US, but like the banking sector in the US is quite different than the Canadian sector, than the Canadian banking sector over here, because our Canadian banking sector is considered as stronger compared to the US banks,
Mhm.
which we've seen in. I was too young to remember, but in 2008, we've seen that multiple banks in the US were like in big trouble, I would say. And here in Canada, we've been able to be more secure, notably, I think, in terms of the loan that are given to people. We have more security. It's harder, I think, to have like a loan over here in Canada compared to in the US in certain places. And it's why I think that it could be a good idea for them to try to diversify and to try to for example, it was a good idea to try to acquire a bank in the US that would have, I think it would have made them one of the top five biggest bank in the US if they would have been able to do that. I don't know right now what is their position in the banking sector in the US, but I think that they are really trying to go in that market. And I personally like the fact that I like the fact that they are trying to do so because for me the US market really is where the big money is like at the moment. So I think it
My audience typically is between the ages of like the most people fall between the ages of 30 to 65 years old,
yeah.
right? A lot of them, I'm 40, so a lot of them are 40 years old. So when you said in 2008, I was too young to really understand.
Yeah.
I just want to take a moment for everyone to feel old for a second because I did the math. You were like 9 years old when this
Yeah,
happened.
exactly. But you don't look 40 at all, man.
I
You could
was a grown ass man when that
yeah.
happened, and you're a 9 year old little baby, and now you're reporting on it with me. Thanks,
Yeah.
buddy.
No, but I mean, I would have give you like 29. I thought you were 29.
I am a 40-year-old man. I am broken. I'm a broken 40-year-old man. Everything hurts. So yeah, I'm definitely that. But thanks for the compliment though. I'll hold that with me. All right. So we have Toronto Dominion Bank TD. Thanks for that update on everything. I appreciate that. Because I wasn't really sure what was going on with TD and that breakdown with bad timing. I think you're right about that. That's when that US bank did crash. It was very chaotic during that time. It was
Hmm.
just really bad entry point.
Yeah.
Apple, that is number 8 on our list. AAPL, consumer electronics and services giant. Everyone knows what Apple is. A technology sector. It's 5% of your portfolio. You have $6,051. It's a typical tech yield. So anyone who's new to investing, tech companies do not have high yields. The yield here is 0.47 to 0.472%. It's expected, but they have high growth. Tech is high growth. You don't look at it for dividend yields. And you Yeah. So why did you pick Apple? Are you in the Apple ecosystem? Do you use Apple phones? I'm assuming this is the same thing again. It's in your TFSA or maybe your non-registered account. We're not going to refer to RRSP. We know you're only holding SCHD in there now. So yeah, what's your logic behind it? Why did you invest in Apple? There's a lot of tech companies to pick from.
Yeah, I did invest in Apple. I think it was a few years ago. I think I've rebought some shares, but it's all in my unregistered account on that side. Right now, I've decided, like initially when I've decided to purchase the different companies, also it was for the useful of the products and of the different services that they are offering. For example, I'm not necessarily the biggest Apple fans in the way that I don't have a MacBook Pro, but I have an iPhone. And I know that, for example, all the products that they are making are quite useful and quite essential for most people because
Mhm.
like for me Apple is like it is one of the largest companies in the world, and if you take a look at, for example, the S&P 500 evolution over time, and you'll have potentially more knowledge than me on that side because as I mentioned, I'm a little bit younger, but Apple has been in this S&P 500 for a big period of time, and they've still been able to remain at the top. And for me, it shows that it is a company that definitely has like what I say, like good prestige, and that is really a strong company on that side. And so I've decided to invest. It doesn't represent a lot of my total assets, but I've still decided to invest a little portion of my cash in it because of those main reasons.
Yep, all good reasons. Let's move. And I think everyone knows everything about Apple. We can go right by there. Do I have anything to add to Apple? No, I don't think I own Apple. No, I'm almost positive I don't own Apple. And the only reason why I don't own Apple is because I don't own an iPhone.
Oh,
So that's the only reason. If I owned an iPhone, I'd probably be an investor, but I just don't own it. So I'm like, well, I'm not in their ecosystem. I don't. And there's so many other companies I can pick from. But that's the only reason why I don't, or else I'd buy them. I'd buy them on a dip. I'd buy them if they
mhm.
crashed. Like I would have bought them in April if I felt like buying them. Number 9, Meta Platforms. Meta, the social media conglomerate, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and VR technology sector. 5%. This is one of my largest positions. Yeah, you have 12,507 dollars in this. Once again, a tech yield, so super low yield, 0.27%. The returns have been insane over the last 5 years on this. Why did you pick Meta? When did you buy Meta? By the way, I'm just more
Yeah.
curious about that. Because I bought during a massive crash a few years back. That's when I got all my shares.
Mhm.
I've barely bought since. When did you buy it? Why did you buy it? How do you feel about the future of Meta?
Well, I'll have a great anecdote about Meta because I also bought this company at least 2 or 3 years ago, like while the stock was crashing,
Yeah.
because I have one of my great friends that decided like his portfolio is really not balanced, but he had back in the days four companies where he put all his money into. You had Meta, Tesla, Google, and I believe Amazon. He put up
Oh.
maybe like $50,000 in every
Oh.
stocks, and like I think he still holds like a big portion of it. But if he decided to diversify his portfolio, he decided to invest in other companies, but all in the tech sector. So Nvidia, Broadcom, and companies like that. So back in the days, I remember like there was big, I think it was lawsuits with Mark Zuckerberg and stuff, and like the stock was trading like around $200, 200 US dollars per share. Maybe 250, and at that point I was like all the fundamental metrics were super good. The P ratio, everything was pretty good. So I've tried to bought more to buy a lot of shares of this company because I didn't necessarily understand. It was, I think, 3 years ago. So I was 22, 23. I was fresh out of college. I had a little bit of money. So I decided to invest in that company. And right now I continue to hold my shares of this business, even if I've decided to sold a few of them to take a little bit of profit because I was, I think, over 240% of unrealized gain on this position. So it's quite a big performer these past couple of years. So like I like the vision that they have with all the AI and with all also the different I would say products, but like everything as you mentioned, the WhatsApp, Meta, Instagram, and all the different the advantage that they have on that side in terms of also the social media. They are the number one. Well, they have like in the top five of the most used social medias. I think they have like three, maybe like WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook. That so it's they really are like for me one of the best companies to invest in. So I'm pretty happy, and I think that it's potentially the best. I'm pretty sure that it's actually the best performing stock that I've been able to have in my portfolio for the past couple of years.
Yeah, it's my top performer as well. I got it during a huge crash as well. Same reason why you did. It was performing well. It was just a lot of it was negative sentiment. I mentioned before I work in advertising. Meta makes its money off of advertising, Facebook advertising, WhatsApp advertising. So
Hmm.
just working in that every day, I kind of knew I'm like, oh, everything's fine here. Like we're
Yeah.
using it for all our advertising, so they're doing well. Instagram. I sent you an Instagram friend request right before this started, so take a look
Oh,
out for
yeah.
that. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Add us both on Instagram if you guys are watching us. My link to my Instagram is in my bio. You'll see his link to his Instagram on his YouTube and stuff probably too as well. All right, cool. I also use a lot of VR. I love VR. So I'm big on Meta and the ecosystem for
Yeah.
advertising, for fun, for everything. All right, number 10 is so these two are my big two. Meta and Google are my two like big two. I'm actually going to be selling off them now a little bit. I'm just trying to diversify a bit. I have too much in both of these, but I haven't sold anything yet. I'm just planning on. But number 10 is Alphabet, Google, Googl, search engine and cloud computing giant, technology allocation $9,458. I invest in it because I'm in advertising. Google is the advertising king. Meta is an advertising king. Why did you buy into it? When did you buy into it? What are your plans for Google as well?
Yeah, well, just like Meta, I've bought it initially right around the same time as Meta. I've started to add more to my portfolio lately. I think that Google is still one, in my personal opinion, it's still one of the companies in the tech sector that is still quite undervalued right now. When you take a look at its valuation, its different ratios at the like, for example, the P ratios compared to a company like Meta. But I love the fact that Google, for me, I think it's the most diversified tech companies in the world. They have so many products, so many things that they are like. We could talk about Google and Alphabet as an whole for like multiple hours, I think, and we would
Yeah.
still have like a subject to talk about still. But I like the fact that they really have like multi. That's one of the reasons why I like the company. It's the fact that they are so well diversified. They are also the biggest search engine market. They have the biggest part of the search engine market. I think lately I've made some research. I think they have about 91% of the total market worldwide. So it's for me it's wild, especially while we are currently in the race with AI, and the like many companies are trying to find ways to use AI in their business model. I think that with Gemini and with Google, that is also looking to improve their potentially their search engine. It will definitely give them an edge to perform well in the future. Even if I don't know if you've seen their latest earnings report that came out, I think like 1 week or 2 weeks ago,
No, I haven't. What was in it?
because they've had some great they have some great earnings, but the only thing that is that I think it was Google that underperformed. They have been slightly underperforming the growth compared to Meta on that regard, but still the company
Yeah.
for me right now is, it's also one of I think, if I'm not wrong, it's also one big position that I have in my portfolio, around 6%, I think.
I had uh, a financial professor on yesterday. It'll be airing. That podcast will be airing before this one. His name's Harry, and he was saying the same thing as you. Google has such a diverse product suite, and they're just good at so many different things that ChatGPT might be valued at X amount of dollars, but if you add up everything Google is good at, it's just it should be a much higher valuation than what it currently has. And as far as their earnings reports, I'm not surprised that they're like look at their product suite. They have so much stuff that they can basically sell, and they have all their advertising revenue growth. Yeah, that's okay. They can fix that. The reason why I don't care too much about earning reports on certain stocks is if it's a long-term hold like Meta, Alphabet, or something like that, I don't care. I
Mm-hmm.
don't care. I actually don't care about anything um if until I'm deciding on buying a stock. So like I don't care if their earnings suck. I don't. What does that affect me? Like I'm not going to sell them just because I'm not like I won't any sentiment, any short term stuff. I just don't care about, and I'm so busy that I learned over years like none of this matters. It's just people need stuff to report on.
Mm-hmm.
So, but as far as when I'm but maybe someone wants to buy Google so they're interested in it, but for me just holding on to it makes no difference. I
Yeah.
look at that stuff if I'm debating on buying a stock. I go, oh, okay, are they? And then I start looking at that stuff if I'm actually ready to buy something or invest into something. But I typically stop paying attention to stuff if I know I'm just gonna be holding it for a long time. I don't even care anymore. It's just like
Yeah.
why it's just short term sentiment. I could care. Oh, well, not, it's not even sentiment. It's an earnings report, but I'm not too interested in it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I love Google. Yeah, go
And
ahead.
you see with Google, actually, it's also funny because for me, I think like Google right now, it's maybe some forecast that I could be making, but I feel like it's like potentially it could be at the same position as Meta was 2 years ago, because right now they are like in the midst of multiple lawsuits, and like they have like pretty much it. For me, I don't have a lot of experience to back it up, because like I don't have 20 years of experience, but it's like if I feel like Google right now is like has so much potential for growth, and it's such a, as we mentioned, a well diversified company. So it's
Thing is, Google is still not enough of a discount for me. Like I bought it. Did I buy? Yeah, I did buy it. I bought it in April
Mhm.
when everything crashed
Yeah.
is when I bought it again. But I hadn't bought it in a few years up until that point because I was like, oh, I don't. It's not at a discount because I'd bought so much when it was very very cheap.
Yeah.
If it doesn't have enough negative stuff going for it that's not real for me to buy it yet to cause a dip. So when Meta crashed, it had so much shit going on that made everybody lose faith in the company, that even though the company was profitable, it got down to under $200. Like I bought it for under what you bought, well under what you bought it for, because
Yeah.
at that time it was a perfect storm of that stock just getting shit on by everybody in the media. They're like Apple. I'm in advertising, and I'll try to explain this very quickly because I've talked about it before. Apple, you track when someone clicks on a Meta ad, you track them. They're being tracked now on their phone or when they go on the internet. So if you have an Apple phone, that's why when you see an ad over and over again, you're like, why is it following me everywhere? Right? Because you clicked on something on the Meta. And that's how we find the right person. If I'm selling sneakers, it's how I find the right person to buy my sneakers.
Mhm.
Apple stopped allowing Meta to do that in their ecosystem. which screwed up all the tracking, which made advertising 20 to 30% more expensive. And everybody was like, oh my God, that's how they make their money. Everyone's going to stop advertising on Meta. I was in advertising. Nobody stopped advertising on Meta because even though it was 20, 30% more expensive, it was still the best option out there. Nobody was better at it than them, right?
Yeah.
And all these businesses were still relying on the Meta ecosystem to sell their stuff. So I knew nothing had changed. And then they had all these other waves of bad news, lawsuits, all this stuff, but the company was still breaking records for revenue. Oh, and at the same time, Zuckerberg was saying, I'm going to focus on VR now. Screw advertising. So everyone was like, what's this guy doing? It was a beautiful storm. It was a unicorn moment. It was it was like, oh, this is never going to happen again. I could feel it. That's why I put a lot of money into it. I'm like, I don't think this will be happening after another 5 to 10 years. That's why I went so heavy into it. Cause I was like, such a weird scenario. Google hasn't hit that with me yet. The only thing I see with Google lagging is I don't see a clear vision for what they're doing with AI yet. With Tesla, I have a pretty good idea what they're doing. It's going to be AI heavily involved with robotics and automation in cars and their taxis and all that kind of stuff. With Meta, they're going to use AI to make advertising 10 times easier. You have Microsoft with ChatGPT and how they're trying to do stuff there. With Gemini, I don't quite see the vision of what they have. And I feel like that's where I just need some more clarification from the Google end, but their product suite is so big, they make so much money, stuff like that. So I'm just waiting for that perfect storm to hit, hopefully with Google, where they get a lot of stuff happens. And if they drop 40, 50%, everybody back up the dump truck with cash and just start throwing it in Google, because that's your opportunity. I'm still waiting for that to happen though.
Okay, I see. Yeah.
That's where I'm at with Google. That's why I haven't bought it. I'm just waiting. Maybe if something horrible happens, then I'll start buying it. Okay, number 11. Amazon AMZN. This is one I own this. I'll be selling it, but not for any bad reason. I'll tell you why in a second. E-commerce, $9,204. It's 5% of your current portfolio. Why do you have Amazon? When did you buy Amazon? TFSA, non-registered again. Just walk us through that.
Yeah, so I've decided to invest in Amazon also at the same time, pretty much as Meta and Google. So all the big tech companies that I have in my portfolio, I've bought them pretty much at the same period initially, and then I've decided to add few shares of certain companies throughout time. But Amazon, initially, I bought it right around the end of COVID, and that's really when I first started to really invest by myself. So like throughout COVID, I don't know if you remember, but everyone was staying at home, and everyone was just shopping online because we didn't add any other ways to go shop in stores, in the classical traditional stores that we have. So for me, e-commerce is going to be there to stay, and the growth that we could see on that market will be very interesting over the next couple of years and decades. So for me, a company like Amazon, that is the number one on that regard in the world, is definitely a great stock to have in my portfolio.
Yep, makes sense. And your logic behind it, you're like, everyone's stuck at home buying. What do I buy the thing that everyone needs right now? Everyone needs Amazon. So I buy it. If you're buying during COVID, especially early on in COVID, you get everything at a discount as well. Okay, now I'll quickly explain why I'm selling it. I'm not selling Amazon because I don't believe in Amazon. I'm just accruing cash right now just to buy more high conviction stocks. By high conviction was kind of how I mentioned Google. I use Google products. I believe in the product suite. Meta, I advertise with. And there's things I understand inside out. Like I just know them so well because I use them every single day. I'm just trying to simplify my portfolio to only own things that I feel passionate about and I understand deeply. E-commerce and Amazon, I understand. I get their business model. I just don't get them as well as Google. I don't root for them. I root for Google. I want Google to succeed. I actually want VR and Meta to succeed. I just, for a personal thing, I'm just going to sell it off and I'm only going to hold stuff that I feel that way about that are highly profitable, right? So it's still going to perform as good as Amazon, whatever I'm looking for. So I'm just doing that. So I'm not selling Amazon as a make more money strategy. It's just, I just kind of want to look at my portfolio and be like, all right, cool. These are all the companies I believe in. They're all going to be profitable. It's just that. It's just I don't know what the word for that is. A personal preference thing. I just don't want to own things anymore that I don't have high conviction for.
Okay.
That's it. So, but I love Amazon. I think it's a great buy. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. And that's it, right? They're great. Number 12 is Tesla, TSLA. You have $11,000 in this. When did you buy this? What's your plans for this? And we have a lot to talk about with this one.
Yeah, well, I've bought it also pretty much. My first position that I've started in Tesla was also when I first started my portfolio, so 3 or 4 years ago. And
Yeah.
I bought it because I like the technology that they are using, and like they've been able to kind of revolutionize the EV market. And back at that time, I also liked the how Musk like I know that Elon Musk is quite a character. People hate him or love him, so that's that's someone that is really he really has like a strong character. But I think that he's been able to do something with Tesla that is very interesting for me. The company has a technology that is, at least that is pretty much at the forefront of its competition. And it is a company that, like, I would not necessarily invest, for example, I would say in the traditional cars, but like in the companies, for example, like Ford or in Dodge or companies like that. But with Tesla, what I like is that I can see it becoming like the future. Like, everyone is talking about the EV that are going to replace the traditional cars over the next couple of decades. And I think that Tesla really is like the number one company on that side that has like the big advantage compared to their competitors on that regard. And so yeah, that's pretty much it. And I've bought it, like I remember when with Tesla, I've made sure to try to buy the. It's one of the companies that I've made sure to buy the dip, because we've seen the value of this company. Sometimes it was dipping massively. Sometimes after it was like the value was rising rapidly as well. So I've tried to buy the dip on that company. I've also been able to make great profit, but you see, I think right now I don't know what's the percentage. I'm trying to look. It's about 6% of it. But at one time, I remember that it was over 11, 12% of my total portfolio, because it rose so much that I've also took some profit. So it's a company that I like. I want to keep it in the long term, but I don't want to have too much money in it, because uh, it's not a company for me like Meta or Google that has like a big advantage, because right now there's also some competition that is rising, for example, from China, with different competitors there and
Yeah.
stuff. So, and like you have other companies that are starting to use EV more. So yeah, I want to keep it in my portfolio for the long term, but I don't want to have too much of my assets in it, I would say.
I bought and sold this Chinese company called Neo. Are you familiar with them?
Yeah,
NIO.
I bought it too.
I
Uh,
bought them at their low, sold them when they hit a high. Like that company, I don't even know what the numbers are. Like I bought it at like $2, sold it at like 7 or something, or
oh,
8. So you know how that goes. Like because I
yeah.
just noticed a trend. I noticed that every God, this was a while back, but I just remembered because they're owned. A percentage of Neo is owned by Saudis.
Hmm.
And what they're doing is they kept buying back shares like every August at these lows. I'm like, wait, there's like a thing going on here. So I'm like, okay, I'll test it out. I'm like, if this, I'll just test it out. And it happened like 2 years in a row. So I think I bought in like in April, when it hit like a low, and then I sold it at like the end of August when it hit a high again. And it just kept
Hmm.
doing the same pattern. It was just like how these Saudis were aggregating more and more shares of Neo. So I just kind of jumped on what they were doing. I only did it the one time. I was like, I'm not playing this game. This is sketchy. But it was good. It was, and that's I realized the gains on that one took that. Now with Tesla, let's talk. I'm going to talk to you about some of my logic here. So I own Tesla. I bought them in April. Bought them during the crash. I sold them when they hit their high again, not their actual high, but their high when they're bounced back.
Hmm.
Right before him and Trump. I can't say the name. If I say his name, it gets flagged sometimes by the algorithm. So I say
Okay.
Trump. Yeah, I have to say out his name now.
I,
Trump.
I'll be
Uh,
careful to not say its name too much as well.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah.
so now like I get a lot of weird stuff happening here with the algorithm. So yeah, when him, the two guys stopped being best friends, I sold just before that. and before it dipped back down.
Mhm.
And I was actually planning on holding it for a while. The reason why I sold it, a lot of people watching do know this, is just because of Elon. I have no problem with Elon. He can say whatever he wants. I agree with some of the stuff. I disagree with some of the stuff, but whatever. I could care less about that. But Elon, for two reasons, short term and long term. Short term, I didn't like waking up and having a guy say something and it fluctuates price so much. So I don't like a CEO having so much impact on short-term stock price. Not that it means anything if you're a long-term holder. I just didn't like that feeling. I just hated it. Like, oh my God, it moved 10%. Right?
Yeah.
It's like he got some crazy swings. It's like that's just, I'm not used to that. Right. I have
Yeah.
more stable. So I was like, I don't want that. So that's partly. Secondly, was okay, long-term price. I was thinking, what happens if he dies?
Mhm.
I'm like, he's driving the innovation. He's driving a lot of this. He's the friend. Who knows? At this point, they're such large corporations, right? It's all running without him. He probably just says a couple of things and people do it, but everything's planned out for the next 20 years, right? They got these brilliant minds. Everyone knows what they're doing for the next 20 years, but he's still front facing. So I was like, if he dies, this whole house, this all fall apart. I don't think it will. Steve Jobs. Everyone thought when Steve Jobs died in Apple would fall apart. It dipped, came back up. Apple's still here. Steve Jobs
Mhm.
passed away. I think it'll be very similar to Elon. It'll dip, but it'll dip maybe for like a year. It'll come back because he has a roadmap that they can just follow for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
But I was like, but you don't know. But it was just the fact that one guy can affect stock price either with what he says in the short term or his actual health in the long term. I was like, too much. That's a weird thing to have to worry about. And I didn't feel like worrying about that. That's when I would be. I didn't, I was mentioning before, I was like, I don't look at the earnings report for Google. I don't care. I'm just holding Google. Like, what do I care how much to make? But with Tesla, I don't want to have to look at their stuff, but I'm forced to look at social media to be like, what does this guy say? I'm forced to look at a shirtless photo of Elon looking pale and out of shape. Be like, is he going to have a stroke? Like, how am I going to lose my money? Right. So it's like, I don't want to have to think about this stuff. Right.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm just going to sell it. I want to go back to stocks that I can do the research prior, make sure I'm making a good investment, and then forget about them for the next 5 years. And you can't do that with Tesla, I feel.
Yeah.
So I was like,
It's like the thing that I don't understand about Elon is that he's such like I don't know if you've seen the videos of him like telling everyone that he's working like 16 18 hours per day. Like he's like it's like either even if you don't like it or you love him, the only thing that you can be sure is that someone like him that has been able to succeed, for example with PayPal, that has been able to have multiple projects like PayPal, Tesla, SpaceX, the Boring Company. So he has multiple companies that he has been able to push to the top. He must have like a great routine, but at the same time, I feel like sometimes, as you mentioned, like he seems like I don't know if you'll be able to know what it is, but it's like I would say like the cyber trolls and like people that are just like sometimes he's just like on Twitter and stuff, and he's just like trolling people and so
yeah,
like
it's
with
funny.
yeah
It's
with
great
yeah
when you don't own the stock.
yeah like with Dogecoin and stuff. I don't know if you remember, like I think it was like in 2021 2022 it was like Dogecoin, go buy Dogecoin and stuff, and you've seen like the crypto coin like like
Then
it reached new highs and stuff, and then
he goes on
it dropped.
SNL. He
Yeah,
went on SNL and said it was basically a scam, and then it crashed. It's
yeah,
like, what are you
exactly.
doing?
Yeah.
But it's the power of one guy's word. He's an interesting case, and I don't know how much people care about Elon, so I'll get off this in a second. He's a rare case. He's a unicorn of a human being because he is incredibly smart. He is a nerd. He is a self-trained in a lot of ways, like engineer. Like he is a computer science background, I think, and then he like taught himself like how to build rockets just by reading a bunch of books. Like he's a smart. No matter what, he's a super smart guy. He might not be a certified, like actual engineers are a lot better than him, but you still got to give him props for like, wow, you self-taught yourself that enough. You self-taught yourself enough about the subject to hire the right people for the job. You're knowledgeable enough to even ask the right questions. That's crazy. And then the thing that makes him a lethal combination is he's got a analytical mind. He's a highly special skill, like especially has specialty skills. But a lot of times people like that work a job. They get put into position by a businessman and they work their job and they make the engine, right? For the company. But he's a fusion of industrious. He's the corporation guy. He knows how to man, he knows how to build a business, hire the right people, get that thing operating.
Yeah.
So he's industrious and he's a nerd. You either get a really good businessman who's industrious, who's you don't have to be you actually don't need that high of an IQ to be a successful businessman. I know. I'm a successful businessman. You don't have to be that smart,
Yeah.
right? Right. But then IQ also does not affect how much money you make after a certain IQ. So that's why a lot of really smart people aren't that rich. So you get a lot of people who are kind of smart, who are super rich. People who are really smart who aren't that rich. It's because they fall into those two buckets. Smart guy works a job. Guy with average IQ but who is super industrious, tell that guy what job to work. He is both. And
Mhm.
then you add in the third X factor of he just don't give an F. He just doesn't care. And he's
Yeah.
such a volatile, outwardly personality. It does two things. He takes higher risk than even the industrious guy does. He puts all his eggs in, but he is willing to fail harder than these guys. He obsessively works, and then he created himself into a persona. He's the marketing machine. They spend no money on advertising. He's the billboard for everything he does because he's so eccentric on screen that
Mhm.
people just follow everything he does. So he understood the marketing aspect of the kookier I act, the more eyeballs I get, the more my stock price moves for
Yeah.
better or for worse, the more financing we get, and the more people get to say yes or no. He understood the advertising. Like it's like, I don't know what that is, but that's why he's successful. And that's hard to replicate. That's almost impossible. He is legitimately I don't know how many billion people there are on the planet. He's a 3 in 1 billion person who can
Yeah.
pull that kind of behavior off. That's why he is the way he is. Nothing he's done is luck.
Yeah,
It is,
he's a person. He's a true like a special personality. But as you mentioned, he's been able to at least to surround himself with the best people, and it's why all his companies, I believe, have been able also to succeed well. He's not only like a special person, but I think he's pretty well surrounded. Like he's able to have great people. But yeah, for sure, he's a
he's
special
got
person.
a
Yeah,
he's got an insane stress tolerance because
yeah,
if those rockets, if I think on like his fourth or fifth rocket, if that thing blew up and didn't work, he's out of business. Like he's been on the verge of bankruptcy and complete failure multiple times, and he's put
yeah.
himself there. He's starting companies that you're not supposed. Tesla electric vehicle in the automotive industry, which has the worst margins ever. And he's like, I want to take over there. The rocket industry, where there's NASA and government, and no one's doing anything with that. He's picking the worst industries to start companies in, and he's making it work. Like, I will give him props where props are due. When it comes to all that, say what you want about some of the stuff he says, but God, he knows how to succeed.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, that guy knows how to succeed.
Yeah.
So there's our Elon rant. Okay, now let's move on to number 14. We have Manulife Financial Corp, Canadian multinational insurance financial services company. I have Manulife too. You have $11,320. Why do you have this one?
Yeah, it's also one of my biggest positions. It's another financial companies that is quite important in Canada and in other different markets, but it's a company that I like the principle. Like I think insurance companies, as for banks, is they are like some essential companies that are providing essential services. When, for example, me, I'm looking to buy property, I will need to have an insurance on it. If I buy a new car, I'll need to have an insurance. So you have multiple types of insurance, and it is a company definitely that has been also performing pretty well these past couple of years. Just like for TD, I'm also subscribed to their DRIP program, so I'm able to reinvest all the dividend that I receive to buy new shares of them. So I just like I like the business model, the use that it has, and yeah, that's pretty much it for Manulife. And
And
I
then
I,
number,
I have it in
sorry, go
my
ahead.
TFSA
And your
also.
CFSA.
Yeah.
And number 15, we have, and this is the last one, guys. We have RioCan Real Estate Investment Trust, REI.UN, the Canadian Real Estate Investment Trust focused on real estate properties. It's a REIT, it's focused on real estate. You have $10,000 in this, and it says it's up 40%. So why this?
Yeah, so I've bought pretty much all the shares of Raucan before I bought my triplex. I wanted to have some real estate in
Mhm.
my portfolio. So that was pretty much the way for me to have real estate in portfolio. I bought it when the stock was low before, like after the crash of the COVID, like pretty much all stocks were low. So I've bought, I think it's 400 or 500 shares of Raucan. I've held them up to like for at least 3 or 4 years. I like the fact that they are giving great monthly dividend income, but obviously with the different real estate projects that I have, I'm potentially thinking about selling a certain portion of this stock in my portfolio just so I can buy new like my own properties because the what I wanted initially with this stock is just to have some real estate as I mentioned. So right now I'm just trying to do my own real estate empire. So
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was wondering about it because if you own a REIT, most times when I see people buying REITs is because it's their way to enter the real estate market without actually owning it. But you're
yeah,
legit, you're creating your own personal REIT. You're buying rental properties and you're doing it yourself. There's
yeah.
almost no purpose of you having it. So
Mm.
I understand why you would sell it. I have a video on my channel from from Bassem Zahili. He's a YouTuber in finance here in Canada. It's called "Are REITs a scam?" or something like that. And he
Yeah.
goes in. It's about a 4 minute clip, and he goes into the problems with Canadian REITs. You should check it out. Anyone else watching should check it out. Just type in Bassam and REIT on my channel, and you'll find it. He knows everything about REITs, but he kind of opened my eyes on the difference between U.S. REITs, Canadian REITs, and sort of the a little bit of corruption when it comes to Canadian REITs. I won't get into it here because I've talked about it to death, but it's a clip worth checking out. Now I'm going to list off everything we just spoke about.
Yeah.
Let's go. Number one, we have VFV Vanguard. Number two, we have Cash, the Global X High Interest Savings. Number three, we have iShares Core Equity Portfolio, which is XEQT. Number four, we have Schwab US Dividend Fund, SCHD. Number five, we have iShares S&P TSX 60 ETF, XIU. Number six, now we're on to stocks, Enbridge, ENB. Number seven, Toronto Dominion Bank, TD. Number eight, Apple, AAPL. Number nine, Meta, META. Number 10, Alphabet, GOOGL. Number 11, Amazon, AMZN. Number 12, Tesla, TSLA. Number 14, Manulife Financial Corp, MFC. Number 15, RealCan Real Estate Investment Trust, REI.UN. Those are his 15 stocks and ETFs. Jesus. And first off, let's jump into this. I have a lot of questions about you because you have a portfolio of $169,000. My note here is you are 26 years old. You have a great portfolio for your age. You must know this. I don't. Uh, I've talked to another young investor, and I talked to him. I said, "Hey, do all young people like you have fantastic portfolios?" And he's like, "No." Is that the same case from you? You've noticed? Are you just an outlier in your friends group of this 26-year-old who understood investing at a fairly young age? How did you even figure out about investing? Did your parents tell you what? Why do you even know anything about any of this stuff?
Yeah, but it's actually funny that we were talking about it because yesterday I've talked with one of my friends that is also a financial advisor with one of the biggest banks over here in Quebec, Desjardins, that it's called, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah, and we basically talk about the importance of like finance and the understanding of finance at a young age because personally I had the chance to have to grow up in a family that like that had like big financial knowledge, especially my father that taught me at a very early age to start work that when you work hard that when you make a lot of money and when you start to make money you need to save money and invest it. He taught me that, for example, he gave me an example. When he was young back in the days, he was working in the mine in the north coast of Quebec. He was making good salaries and stuff, but he had like a bunch of his friends that were spending everything, for example, going out at bars, at clubs, and spending out like of his money. And back in the days, I don't remember what was their car. It was like a car, that had like the lights. You could open it and like close it. I
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I remember those. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So he
yeah.
had that brand new car, and like he came out at his workplace, and like everyone was like shocked because they had like the same salary and stuff, but no one had the ability to pay it because even if they had the same salary, they were not spending it the same way. But my father taught them like he told his coworkers that he was able to purchase that because he was able to save his money, not by spending it in places that he didn't need to spend it. And instead, he invested that money and he paid off his car cash. So like everyone was jealous, and he taught me like example like that just to make me understand the importance of saving and investing. And I've been able to reapply the same principles in my life. You see, I've started to invest, to work initially at I was around 10 years old. So I've started to work as a babysitter initially. Then at 12 years old, I became a baseball referee and marker. So I started like I had like a pay boost. So I was making slightly more. After at 14, 15 years old, I've worked as a swimming lifeguard and swimming teacher. So I had another pay boost. And so I've continued like that. I've worked ever since that point, and I've been able to save my money. At that time, obviously, I was too young to like open a broker account. And like when I was, for example, like right now I'm 16. So when I'm 26. I mean, so when I was 16, like 10 years ago, like there was pretty much no one that was on online broker in 2015, 2014. It was more rare like that people were on these brokers. But once I've become 18, I remember I went to the bank with my father, opened my TFSA, maxed out my TFSA every single year from there on. And then you just make great investments. And I remember, you see, I've went into the bank at 18 years old. I was maybe 18 and like 3 days. We took a meeting at the bank. My father came with his little plan. Like he told the financial advisor, "You're gonna invest in that fund." So it was really like he knew where he wanted me to invest. I had the money because I've worked hard. I've saved my money, and like the compound interest really work hard. Like it is incredible. I'm 26 years old, but sometimes I feel like I'm 40. Like I feel like sometimes I have a that was what I was talking about with my friend yesterday. I told him like I know that I'm in a good spot compared to some other people of my age, and but like I don't even imagine where I would be at 40 or at 50. Like if I continue on the same path just to save up money, invest it, and I find ways even to optimize this because, for example, at the end of 2023, so I was 24 years old, I bought this triplex initially. I now live in one of the 3 units, and basically I've been able to optimize everything. So pretty much I'm living for free. So that's the beauty of it. So my tenants are paying not only my mortgage but also my taxes, my insurance. The I don't know what's the name in English, but like the guy that comes to remove the snow throughout the winter, and yeah, and
Whatever
basically,
that guy is, yeah.
yeah,
The guy. There's no name for that guy.
yeah.
Snowplower. Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's like I've been able to pay aggressively my mortgage to be at a certain point where now I'm not paying anything. So I'm able to invest, for example, at least 50% of the income that I'm earning directly into the stock market, or to put it aside to potentially buy my next property. So I feel like you need like financial education is super important, and it is kind of what I'm trying to like teach and to tell others. Like with my channel, with my YouTube channel, I'm trying to share my own experience because I feel like young people needs to be more aware of that. And I think that it can have a great like a great advantage when you reach like older age. Like, I don't want to say older age, but like when you reach like 30, 40, 50. I don't want to
It's
insult
okay.
anyone,
So,
but
it's the truth. If we're getting insulted, we need thicker skin. It's the
yeah,
truth, buddy. It's the truth.
yeah, but
We're older. Okay, I got some stuff for you. So, one commonality there's an ETF expert. He's a financial YouTuber again called Marcos Mila. He did one of my earlier podcasts with me. He's a fantastic guy. He's young like yourself. And I had the same question for him. And one commonality I noticed is you both had fathers who taught you guys financial responsibility at a young age, who introduced you to the world of investing just passively. Your dad came with his notebook. Marcos's father told him the same thing, like just buy some index ETFs, hold on to those things. And that's what it took. I have two young children. So the reason why I'm interested in you is because I'm always going to like, hey, what were the other dads doing to get kids like you? Right? Kids like you and Marcos. I go, okay, great. Because my strategy is to really just follow what your dads did. I raise some financially responsible children. So when they turn 18, we go open up the TFSA together. That'll be my happy moment.
yeah,
All right. And that's exactly what your dad did. Buy this. Like
yeah,
that's so great. That's so reassuring to hear that works. It's you guys are proof. I think you're doing a great service of trying to speak to younger investors on your channel. I think they're more likely to listen to you than the oldie like me. I am 40. Like, what are you look at me? Like, come on, bro. I'd much rather listen to you too as well. Like, you're proof. You're 26. You have a good portfolio. But here's where they're gonna go. They're gonna go, okay, well, this guy, he's not living his life the best he could be living. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, work hard in your 20s so you don't have to work hard in your 40s quickly, because
Mhm.
you have energy in your 20s, and when you don't want to work hard in your 40s, 50s, and 60s, when you're getting tired. The only reason I can even do a podcast like this and enjoy having conversations with you guys and do all this kind of stuff is because I worked hard before, that I can now only do stuff I like doing with the rest of my day. So that's why I can do stuff. It's because like I don't have to worry about all this other stuff, because I paid my dues in my 20s and my 30s to allow myself to sit in front of a camera and talk to my French Canadian friend over here. Right? That's why. Now, a couple things. Um, let's answer that question. You're super financially responsible. You're dialed in. You are doing the dream, which means you're buying your rental properties. You're living in one of the units. It is covering your expenses. Gosh darn it, that is amazing. That's like best case scenario for everything. What do you do for fun? What is your relaxation? What do you spend money on when you spend it on yourself? Talk about the fun stuff, getting away from the financial responsibility. Prove to people you can live a life as a
Yeah.
26-year-old and do this at the same time.
Yeah. Well, you see, me, I love sports. So I'm doing a lot of sports. I've been into a swimming team, like a competition swimming team, all throughout 8 years. Now I'm more into like combat sports and stuff. So I'm more like into Muay Thai, like mixed martial arts and stuff like that. I want to, for example, I love also to travel. So, for example, next summer I'm going with like with one of my friends and my brother. We're potentially going in Thailand to train in Muay Thai. I've also went, you see, at the beginning of summer this year, we went with two of my friends. We went into the east coast of Canada. So we went in New Brunswick, Prince Edward's Island, and Nova Scotia. So I love to travel. I love to do a lot of sports. Sometimes, obviously, like for example, I love to run, but it won't cost me anything. But it's still like sometimes that I love to pass outside. I love to train myself to try to be the best version of myself. I love also to read, and I also love like a little bit less compared to when I was younger, but like to go out sometimes and have a drinks with some of my friends. And one of the things also that I'm trying to always do to be able to enjoy life without like sacrificing too much is, for example, Saturday nights. It's usually the Saturday nights when I don't have anything. I love to go and have a takeout. For example, I don't know, go take out some McDonald's and have some fun one time per week. It's pretty much always the Saturday night or the Friday night when I have nothing planned. And so I'm going to take out, for example, let's say McDonald's. I come back to my place. I watch the UFC, or I also love to relax myself to play video games. For example, I love to play games and to do a lot of sports. But yeah, I would say I'm not someone that like spends a lot of money. For example, I don't necessarily spend money like a lot on clothes. I don't go like buy Louis Vuitton or buy like luxurious clothes or even cars. Like my car is like right now it's a 2018 Rogue. So, but I bought it from one of my friends at discount. So, that I've been able to do great purchase, but my objective really is to reach financial freedom. So right now it's like I'm being able to enjoy life. I think that the key is to try to enjoy life, but also to plan for the future. Because the problem that I see with young people, I have one of my colleagues that is 2 years older than me, and he had like the same like background professionally as me. Like he studied as a to be a financial planner, to be a financial advisor, etc. But you see, he always want to have the newest cars, but he doesn't want to buy it. So he makes sure that he like lease the newest cars with the new technology, about $700 per month. After he goes, like he wants to have like a great apartment, like in town, that has like great great surroundings and stuff. So it cost him like another, let's say, $1,500 per month. So multiple expenses like that build up. And he loves, for example, to go out like multiple times per week and eat out, for example, at big restaurants. So all of this compounds. So all of these decisions that you take when you are young, in my personal opinion and in my personal experience, it will compound more and more. So if, for example, you decide, like I was discussing with my boss yesterday about some things, we were doing like a quick calculus just to see, for example, you love to drink Starbucks coffee, or you're a big you love coffee. Let's say you're used to drink Starbucks coffee. Let's say 5 times per week. It costs you $8 per coffee per day. So it compounds per week. It makes $40. But if instead you decided that you wanted to, let's say, save some money, invest it, and you go like 1 or 2 times per week. Well, what it's going to do is going to make you appreciate those 2 times even more than the five
Mm.
times. So that's really something, for example, me in my case, to go out and just go and take some takeout, some McDonald's or some Subway 1 times per week. I really appreciate this moment. I'm
Yeah.
like super happy. And it's like Saturday, I'm going to the gym, I'm working on my stuff, I'm doing all the hard work. Then I'm like, all right, I'm gonna enjoy my night. If I don't have a plan to see some friends or to do anything, I'm just going to take my little takeout, $20, $25. It doesn't cost a lot, but I really enjoy these moments because it's like a to reward yourself. I would say it's important in life to reward yourself too.
That's a fantastic way of going about it. I have a lot of comments here. First off, your friend who leases a nice car, goes for nice dinners and all that stuff. Okay, so I have a couple thoughts about that. I when I was in my 20s, especially my early 30s, I had a hard time spending money, very hard time. I only recently, the last maybe year, have been really working hard to spend money on myself and actually do stuff that's fun like that, because I just couldn't. I just hard everything had to make me money. I couldn't part
Yeah.
with it if it wasn't me, right? But now I'm getting more on do the things you like, but be smart about it. Which means if
Hmm.
you're going to lease a car, you're going to go for dinner, are you still maxing out your TFSA every year? Do you still have an emergency fund of, 6 to 12 months of money
Hmm.
that you maybe have in a cash ETF that just in case if shit hits the fan, you have money to get you out of that situation? Do you have an entire financial foundation set up? You have investments, you have all this other stuff, and then you're able to still do this on top of it? Go nuts, go crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like why not? But if you're like most people, you have none of that and you're living paycheck to paycheck and you're just leasing a car, and then you end up my age 40 with $0 in the bank account, but you could have actually been putting aside 12, $1,500 a month into investments the entire time, but you just weren't financially smart about it. It's
Mhm.
like, do it smart. You can have, what's the saying? You can have your cake and eat it too, or something. It's just like a saying. You can do it, but you just have to be really financially dialed in, or maybe just pick one thing for now. Go like, I'm just gonna have the nice car. I'm gonna chill on the dinners until I build up my emergency fund. All right, got my emergency fund. I'm gonna have some dinners again, but now I'm gonna make sure I always max out my TFSA.
Yeah.
I just do that stuff, build up a foundation, and then do all that stuff on top of it. That's all you have to do is take a moment and do that. Then I'm like, there's nothing wrong with it to do that. One thing you mentioned is we talked off camera. George St. Pierre, he's the top, in my opinion, the best athlete to ever come out of Canada. He got rated Canada. He beat out Sidney Crosby, the hockey player,
Hmm.
one year for the top athlete in Canada. He is the most people's top pound for pound list of the most talented, best mixed martial artists on the planet. He is French Canadian.
Yeah.
Georges St. Pierre, right? You're Louis-Olivier St. Pierre. And we talked about you guys actually share genetics. You guys are related.
Yeah.
A couple weird thing is if you guys research Georges St. Pierre, you guys look fairly alike. You guys have nice eyes. You guys have the same face. You guys are very similar. I can see the family resemblance. He very similar to you. Okay, so when you're describing stuff, because I'm a huge fan of mixed martial arts. It's the only sport I watch. My daughter does jujitsu. She's only 3 years old,
Oh.
so I'm training. And then she's going to kickboxing. My son's only, he's not even 2 yet, but he'll do the same thing as her. He does the same thing. he is known for discipline. So he's highly regimented, highly disciplined. He's the greatest because he put the work in. He built a foundation of drilling technique, financial, by the way, highly financially responsible. Fighting gives you a lot of money, but people always end up broke at the end of their career. He ended up richer and now he has all these investments. He's
Mhm.
doing fantastic. But
Yeah.
he did the same thing. He's like on weekends, and maybe it's a French Canadian thing. He's like, I like to go out on a Saturday. And I don't know why he said the same thing, eat McDonald's for some. I don't know what is up with McDonald's in Quebec. Is it really, really good?
Well,
Because why are you and George St. Pierre? Is it a family thing because you guys are genetically related? Like, why McDonald's? Because that's the same underlying thing. But
yeah.
kind of, you mentioned how you have these things where you have the coffee a couple times a week, you have the McDonald's, it tastes better. I've heard him speak in a similar manner, and he's the most successful athlete to come out of Canada in the world for mixed martial arts, and highly successful financially. Same with you, real estate investments, investments in the stock market. Um, First of all, what about McDonald's make taste so good over there? And did you get that discipline again, once again, from your father? Did you watch someone? Where did you absorb that from? Was it from your dad? Was it from your father, mother, all that?
Yes, well, from McDonald's, I would say that it's we have the best poutine here. We are
Okay,
lucky, so
there you
yeah.
go.
But I say McDonald's, but sometimes it's just like my time where I know that I can just have to eat what I want, like to just have fun, and that's the moment. Pretty much Saturday night, it's like the weekend and stuff. So it's McDonald's, and sometimes it's also like we have like multiple where I live. There are multiple great fast foods and stuff like that. So I love just going to pick something, eat it, and like just don't feel ashamed to eat it. Like even if it's not necessarily good for health, it's just like to reward myself because I personally feel like when you are disciplined, when, for example, what I'm doing, I wake up, I go to the gym, I go work, I work on my projects. Then after, sometimes I go outside, I do other things. But when you have a great routine, I would say in life, you will feel way better. From my personal experience, you'll feel way better than when you don't have a routine and when you don't have discipline. And I think that it's been something that I've been like taught by both my parents. My mom has a business, like as a I don't know how to say it in English, but it's like she's doing like a massage and stuff for against cancer as well. She's working like in the like notably with women and with different people that have problems. And she had also like a big important job. She also made sure to always go to the gym to pass a lot of time with us. And the same apply for my dad. That was more like as you might be able to understand, he was more like a financial, like I would say financial guru for me. He was like
Mm.
really my financial teacher. Like he taught me a lot of different things. And at the end, it is potentially one of the reasons why I've decided to go also study in finance at university. Then I've been able to have a great job as that gave me a lot of experience as well to like advise financial advisor because I was when I came out of school, I've worked as it was like in a big financial firm in Quebec, which we had like sometimes we were managing like portfolio of big businesses and big like people that had like millions of dollars. And like the financial advisors that had this portfolio, sometimes they had multiple questions, so we were helping the financial advisors with financial strategy. So all of this helped me like to progress. And after it, like discipline, it's like I remember when I was working at that job, I was waking up super early, and the Thursday morning we had like something that is called uh, Toastmaster. I don't know if you know what it is, but it's basically to be able to speak in public, to be able be to have like great like I don't know what to say it in English, but it's
Stage presence. Yeah, get up in
yeah,
front of a crowd and talk. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So like we had like multiple things, and after we worked. So I think it's really beneficial for everyone to have a great routine, to have great discipline, and I've been lucky to. I think sometimes you have luck, as I mentioned earlier. It's always like sometimes it's just a question of timing. I've been able to live in a good family where I've been taught that discipline, working hard, but also putting some money aside. And one of the things also that helped me to understand the importance of investment that you can use if you want with your kids is that you use like for kids especially, it's to use easy language. For example,
Mm,
you make them thought like, for example, me, I was saying it like my father told me like you need to see investment as a worker. You are investing in a worker. The worker with time will produce other worker or it will increase its production. And for me, when I was a kid, I saw it like if I was, I don't know why I had this vision, but I saw it like some ant, like the ant like that are going to take some food and like that are coming back to their place. I was seeing it like that. And so it works pretty well. And, it's true time.
that's how I see it now as an adult. I see my investments as additional workers making more money.
Yeah.
Like I visualize it in my head. Like when I maybe that's why it doesn't bother me when I invest a lot of money. I just see it as like more workers building more income for me. Like that's
Mhm.
how my brain is seeing it. I just introduced my daughter to the concept of like what work means in general because she is only 3,
Mhm.
and I'm in the basement of my home. This is where I film. My office is my entire basement of my house. So it's like a two
Okay.
bedrooms. I have two one-bedroom suites. One bedroom suite is my office. The other one-bedroom suite is for guests, right? And so I don't rent them out or anything. So she knows when I go downstairs, she goes, "Daddy goes to work. Daddy needs to go make money so Daddy can buy me things." So she just knows that that's the only way for her to get things is if Daddy goes to work. As soon as she started understanding that, now she doesn't really care so much if I work. She's like, yeah, you can go work and you can go buy some stuff. But that, yeah, simplifying it, adding a visual to it. I like the ant analogy because that's essentially what it is. Um, that makes sense. What are you are young and you're doing a lot of real estate. What's your, when you get to my age, 40, where do you see yourself as far as real estate? I think your investment portfolio, obviously, that's just going to continue to gain track. Like you just keep getting returns on that. It'll compound into whatever it ends up with at 40 years old, right? But where do you see yourself? Where do you, when you see an avatar of yourself, what does that guy look like? What's he up to?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I would like to, well, the thing that I'm really aiming for is financial freedom because I want to be able to have the freedom to do what I want. And what I'm visualizing myself to do in the future would be potentially have a little real estate company where I want to buy properties, different properties, and I want eventually to also be able to build new properties just to like create new places for people to live. And I also have like, for example, I have different friends that came to me recently and that had like great real estate projects like idea. They told me like they wanted to create some like little cottage from like big industrial boxes. So they like I have different projects. I really want to create, I would say, like a little real estate empire on my side, but I want to be able to also delegate certain things. So I think that in life it is important to delegate also the things that you don't necessarily have the time or the skills to do. It is something very important. For example, when it comes to real estate, like I have a triplex, I can do little renovations myself. When it comes, for example, to mowing the lawn, I will do it myself. But for
Mm.
example, if I need to repair the roof, well, this will take me a lot of time. And sometimes it's better to delegate. And for example, I did the roof last year. I have one of my cousin that actually has like a construction company over here, so he just did it for me. And so you just delegate different like different tasks to other. Then after, I would like on the personal side, I would like to have a family. I would say at 40 years old. So I would like to pass some times with my kids if I have kids. And yeah, I really want to have the freedom because right now I've kind of I've understood from a young age that I am working for my future self and for my future family. I'm putting all the efforts right now to build the life that I want for the future. And I'm like, I really have like the a long vision of time. Right now, I'm good with my situation, but I want to make sure that later on, when I have my girlfriend, my family, and everything, that I won't have like any financial problems because I think that in life you can influence certain aspect. You can actually influence certain aspects of your life. For example, you can try to be in a good physical health by going to the gym, by going on a walk, or by doing like eating well as well. But another aspect that is important for me is also the financial health, because you need to make sure to take good habits from a young age to put yourself in a situation where later on you won't have to have a battle with your spouse to see like can we buy this house or can we do this thing, like to have like financial
Yeah.
problems with your loved ones, I guess.
That's a great way of looking at it. You're investing in your future self, your future family. Um, I have some comments about that. So when I was your age, 26, I was fairly responsible. I wasn't as well off as you. I wasn't doing nearly as well as you were, but I had a skill set. I had marketing background, I had a marketing skill set. I had money. And then I thought I was doing okay, but I at about a year from now, like when I turned 27, I got a really bad health issue. It sidelined me. It actually wiped out all my money. So I ended up starting I lost all my savings and ended up $40,000 in debt. And that taught me a lesson. It taught me, and it was bad because it was out of my control. It was an autoimmune disorder that took
Hmm.
me out. So it was just a universe is hitting me hard.
Yeah.
And that taught me, I thought I was doing a good job. I thought I was responsible. You're not in this problem. You have everything done. So this has nothing to do with you. This is more me talking to other people. But I underestimated how prepared I was. And I realized I was ready for like life this year, but I wasn't, my future self wasn't ready for if shit really hits the fan.
Hmm.
And then all my, that's why I had a hard time spending money and I had a really hard time doing stuff after that, was because everything was preparing the future for if this thing flares up again, if it ever comes back, I got treatment for it. If it ever came back and I was sidelined for another 5 years, could I just survive off of everything I've set up? Could I just coast? Could I just whatever? So I became obsessed with building a foundation, a financial foundation that if you took me out of the equation, everybody's fine. So by the time I had children, my daughter's 3, my son's turning 2. If you take me out of the equation, it's horrible. Now they have no dad, but
Yeah.
if you take me out financially, everybody's fine. The ship keeps going. It's the Steve Jobs effect. Apple keeps going because I obsess about that. So my goals have always been financially. It's never been about buying a car, never been about buying clothing, never been about that buying that. It's always been about, can I maintain my lifestyle right now until
Yeah.
100 years old? And now that I have children, can I set them up in a way where they started 18 with this lifestyle and they build upon it? They don't even maintain it, they just add on to what this is. Like they're building off my shoulders. That's how
Mhm.
it works. But that's been my fixation. Like I've had a fixation point of that. I've achieved it now. Now it's just we're kind of building on. Now it's more about building my children's future more than my own,
Yeah.
because I've got that, and that's kind of where I'm at now. But it's interesting that at such a young age you've clued into that of you're working for your future self and all that stuff. Because I didn't really comprehend that till I'd lost everything. You, I thought I was good. You didn't lose everything. You just knew early on. You're like, hey, I'm doing this for my future self, future proofing myself for my future
Hmm.
family, for all the stuff. I
Yeah.
needed something to happen to me to realize that is what I'm getting at. You didn't. And that's really impressive. And I think that's a testament to, it has to be a testament to your upbringing, your parents, the people you surround yourself with. It's encouraging to see a young person thinking like that, to be honest. Um, where do you think you got that from? Is it coming back to your family again? Is it coming back to the people you surround yourself with? How important is the people you surround yourself with at your age? Because I feel two ways about this. I've got some silly friends. I've got some
Yeah.
friends who are bad influences, bad influences. I got some friends who are exceeding in life, who are doing fantastic. I personally feel like it has no impact on how successful I am. I could be hanging out with someone who makes no money or a lot of money. It doesn't change how much money I make because I don't care about what other people are doing. I'm in my own little lane. I had my own goal I was fixated on. I probably prefer to hang out with the guy who has less money. He's probably funner to be around for me, and he's probably more humble and a nicer guy to be around, anyways, right?
Yeah.
So I personally don't feel like who you surround yourself with, unless they're like horribly toxic people who like make you feel bad about yourself. But if they're people who generally are nice to be around, are pleasant, I'm not a firm believer with you have to surround yourself with rich people to get rich. I think you just
Mhm.
have to surround yourself with good people to be
Yeah.
successful. Kind-hearted, good. Like I think it's different than what's promoted on social media. It's like hang out with high rollers, that's what you do. I'm like, no, screw that shit. Hang out with genuinely kind, good people who care about you. The sky's the limit.
Yeah. Well, I think also it's good to have, I think that you have friends sometimes that are in your life, like from, for example, I have friends that I've been friends with for over 10 years. And even, for example, I have certain people that I know that I'm going to talk only about finance or about different businesses, but I also have like friends that I just want to hang out and that we will do like what young people do. Like we just party and like have fun. Like for example, this weekend we have like we're gonna do like a fire on the beach with certain friends like from high school. So that there's those are friends that I have known for at least like 13, 14 years. So they are people that I've known for a long period of time, and we're just gonna have fun like normal
Yeah.
kids. And I know that certain people, like for example, certain of my friends will tell me when, like, I appreciate people that are honest towards me. For example, if I don't
Mhm.
do something good or something bad, tell me, don't try to flatter me or like pet me like in the back and like tell me that you're doing good. No, I want to know, like, am I really doing the good thing or not? Like, don't, like, you know what I mean? Like, true talk for me is more valuable, and I think it's something that will help you to evolve in life, because one of the things that I do consistently is trying to, like, telling me, am I doing the right thing? Like, trying to question myself. Like, I think it's important in any spheres of your life to question yourself. Like, am I at the right place? Am I doing the right thing? Where I want to go and stuff like that. But you need to also be able to sometimes just relax and have fun. Like, don't talk about business, don't talk about finance, have fun. I'm still pretty
Mhm.
young right now, so I have time ahead of me. But you also need to, it's really like I'm trying to I'm with in both positions. For example, the friend that I've talked about earlier, that was invest in only 4 companies. I know that this friend is like, I like, he has a run club as well. So sometimes we go run and stuff. But I know that with him, for example, I'm going to talk a lot about, for example, Tesla or Meta sometimes. Or he loves to talk about it. Last year, he invited me to check out the new launch of the Elon Musk rocket or something at his apartment with all his friends. So it was like, it was cool, but like,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not.
fun though.
Yeah, it was fun. We learn new things, but yeah, I think it's important to have a good balance, not to fall into a sphere where you just talk about work and you don't have fun, or you just have fun and you don't talk about work. I think, yeah.
That's key. You mentioned balance, not doing too much of one or the other. If you're just having
Mhm.
fun and talking about nothing all day, that's bad. If you're only talking about work, and I'll talk about that, is that's people sort of highly driven people is what I'm saying, to kind of fall into that trap. Everything becomes about what they're doing, the work all the time, even when they're with family members who may not necessarily care, who just want to hear about what they're up to. It's like
Yeah,
that. I know from personal experience, my family and friends could care less what I do. My wife doesn't even quite know what I do for a living. And
yeah,
I'm in advertising, and I've done so much advertising even in the stock market. I have a YouTube channel, and she doesn't. That's why I can bring her up so much. I bring her up all the time on this channel because I know she doesn't watch the content. And
Mhm.
and then like my friends, I force them to watch my content every once in a while. If I think there's like a good video, I'd be
Mhm.
like, "You have to watch this because it's how to invest in your TFSA. Can you please just watch it?" And I'll send it to them and I'll force them to watch it
Yeah,
just to
yeah.
like educate them. But then at the same time, I have tons of friends in advertising. I have tons of friends in capital markets, and that's same with you. It's like, okay, great, and then you get such a overload of information with them. You're like, "Oh yeah, got that." And then your friends that you just have fun with. And it's typically the friends that you've had for over 10 years. Your childhood friends are the ones that give you that. And they're good for that. They keep you humble. They
Yeah,
tell you what's what. They don't let you ever get a big head in any sort of way or make you think that just because you have money or something special. It's like they bring you back down to like, no, 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 no. We know who
yeah.
you are. Stay grounded.
And I think it's
Um,
important also. Well, you'll probably be able to tell me more about it than me, but I think it's important to find the right person also in your life, to have like the right spouse. I think it has like a big impact in your life too, because you see, I've break up with my ex like 1 month ago, and because I've realized different things were not working, different, like, where we wanted to go in life were not the same and everything. But I feel like, since I've broke up with her, I feel way better, and I feel like I'm
and
like,
that's a good decision, buddy,
like,
because you're not supposed to. If you made the wrong choice, you don't
yeah,
feel better.
yeah,
You feel.
exactly. So that's why, like, the importance of choices and like of different, I think, people in your life have, like, it has a great importance.
If you find the wrong spouse, wrong partner, you could be in a life of hell.
Hmm.
That's the truth. You will, if you have goals and success, it will get stomped out so fast. If you're a naturally happy person, you'll become a miserable person. You'll become jaded. You'll hate life. You'll become something that you're not even really yourself. Your hopes and dreams it'll be very difficult to achieve what you want to achieve. That's why you'll see a lot of people who are hyper successful, they're on their second marriage because the first one they end up marrying someone that they didn't want to marry. And then
Yeah.
they're like, oh, I'm on my second. And I know this from, I've seen it from around me, people in bad marriages, and I've seen interviews with people who are super, super successful who are on their second marriage. I'll tell you a little bit about my wife and why I know I'm in a good marriage, right? And she doesn't watch this, so I don't get brownie points. She won't be like, you said something nice. She doesn't watch. She's especially not watching 2 hours in. Okay, so me and my wife, are we aligned, or do we have the same hobbies? No. Do we like the same TV shows? No. Do we does he even get my sense of humor? No. I have a dry sense of humor. So I say jokes and people don't even know I'm saying a joke. It's very dry.
Yeah.
It's sarcastic. She'll think I'm being serious, so she gets angry. And she's been
Okay.
getting angry for a long, and she's still getting angry. I'm like, how do you not know this is a joke by this point? Here's what we have in value. She is honest and she is kind and she has family values. She believes in building family, building up families, helping out people who need it. She's got a really kind, pure heart. She doesn't believe in stepping on people to get to what she wants. She'll just take the longer route to get to where she wants. These fundamental core characteristics, which sound simple, are very hard to come across. I can trust her with stuff. She can trust me. And
Mhm.
this isn't something. And this is when you first start seeing each other. Here, I started dating her because I was like, she's pretty. That's why you started. Like, she's pretty, and she's kind of kooky, and she's weird for me. She's actually East Indian, and I was like, oh, she's East Indian, and I'm East Indian. And I'm like, that's not even something I was used to. Just because I never really, I thought I was like, oh, that's cool too, and we're like the same race and stuff. And then I was like, that's interesting. And she was culturally way more cultured than I am. She speaks Punjabi. I don't. Like, I speak it broken. She understands it fluently. She taught me how to understand it fluently. But she
Okay.
knew all the culture. She knew all the traditions, all the stuff that me, as someone they called whitewashed, they call it a coconut. They call it brown on the outside, white on the inside. It's an insult that's given to you as a kid growing up if you're Indian like me and you don't
Mhm.
quite know the culture. You don't quite know the language. Now I know the language. The culture I've always known. People just give it to you. But the language now I know as well too because of her. But she, right off the bat, I knew she was kind because she didn't judge me off of that. She said, "That's weird that you don't know it all." And I explained, I'm like, I'm the youngest of three, and no one
Mhm.
spoke Punjabi in my household. My parents were trying to learn English, so I never heard it as a kid. So I missed that train. So she got it. She didn't judge me on it. She said, "That's fine. That's cool." And then for her, I would say movie references. She never watched the movies I watched. She was watching Hindi movies. I was like, "That's weird. You don't know the English movies." But it was nice that we were meeting on this little middle ground here, and we were understanding each other, and we were interested in each other. What set it in stone was when things go bad in life, who's around you still?
Mhm.
So when I had lost everything at 26, 27 years old, it was ripped away from me. I lost, it was such a difficult time in my life. I had no health, no wealth, no nothing. But you also lose friends, you lose people aren't as eager to be around you when you have nothing to offer them. I had
Mhm.
negative to offer everybody. Not only that, I would need help at this moment. And she was dating me at this moment. And instead of being like, oh, I'm going to bail. And she was told to bail by people, being like, no, 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 no. And especially traditional Indian families, like, no, you go with winners. You don't go with someone who's clearly in the dumps right now. She
Mhm.
didn't. She said, no, no, I'll stick with this guy. He's nice. He's kind. Only because of that. Not because I had money. I did not have looks or anything. Want to why? I was on medication. I had a ballooned up face. I had thousands of bumps all over me. I was crippled. I couldn't even lift my arm up. So I had nothing aesthetically appealing anymore. My body was in shambles, was broken. I had debt, and I had doctors telling me that they didn't even think I would probably make it. And I had this lady going, it's fine, you'll be fine, you're strong. She's like, you have a lot of willpower, you're strong, you're kind, I'll stick with you. I go, that's messed up because she had every out. So
Yeah.
obviously for me, I'm going, this is crazy. This is craziness. I make it go, I come through that, I come on the other end of it. And then it's not first, it's that alone, you're like, this is my lady. Then a big part of me is like, I'm going to fucking become a multi-millionaire. Fuck this. I'm going to become the richest motherfucker that I know out of everybody. Not because I'm going to be like, I'm rich. It was think before, like, I don't ever want to be poor again. But like, I'm going to give this lady the best life she could ever ask for. Lucky for me, she didn't ask for anything. All she
Yeah.
wanted was a stable life, love, a nice home to raise a family, and just stability and just all that. I was like, I can give her that much, but screw that shit. I'm giving her the kitchen sink, right?
Yeah.
So, woof. And that's what happened. So I've never had a moment in my life of, oh, till death do us part. Would this person back me up if shit hit the fan? All this stuff. It's not up to me to doubt that with her. If anyone should be doubted, it should be me. It's
Mm.
I'm the one who I don't think I've proven enough. I feel that way to this lady to be like, I'll be there for you. My only way to prove it in as a man is to be like, can I give you everything you want? Can I give you the life you want? Can we raise the family? Can we have kind children? Can I be the old kind, live for as long as humanly possible with you, old, grow old together, get old and fat and fall apart together? Can I do that for you? That is my commitment to her, and that's all I can do. So
Mhm.
in the moment where the only moment I will ever need anybody, she was number one there for me. And then my repaying her is for the rest of my life, I'll be there for her. Right.
Yeah.
So that's how you know.
Yeah.
Good luck.
That was
Good luck.
that's truly inspiring for real. Like
Yeah.
she pushed you really to the top, and like I feel like that's a great way to know that you're with the right person when both of you are like upright, like uplifting each other and like are helping each other to just go through like hard
Yeah.
times sometimes also.
It's interesting. She's never had to be like, go make more money, go do this. You know
Yeah.
what helps? It's she doesn't doubt my ability. It's I'm going to start when I started my own company. She
Mhm.
wasn't I was stressed out. I was like, oh my God, I'm leaving a 6-figure job. I'm making good money. I'm
Yeah.
leaving stability and I'm going to go start my own company. And I was like, why aren't you worried? I asked her. I was like, you should be worried. This is like, this could be a horrible. She's like, no, you always just figure it out. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
She trusted you, that's why.
And I was like, what
She-
the hell? I'm like, maybe lower the trust. She hasn't even flinched. And she was right, but she had no stress. The only time she had stress was like when she went to go get medication from one of our doctors, from the pharmacist. And the pharmacist is like, oh, he like left that really good job. And he's like, yeah, he's like, oh, it's hard out there, especially for marketing. I know
yeah.
marketing. And he's like, she came home. She's like, he told me this. Should I be stressed? I was like, no, you're right. Don't be stressed. I'm like, I just got a contract. It was within 4 days of me starting my company. I'd already signed a major contract. Right. So I was like, okay. I'm like, you were right. Everything's good. We're fine. Right. So, but that's it. But it's like that subtle thing. She was never like, go make more money. We need more money. It's just like, no, I trust you. You know what you're doing. It's fine. It's like, oh, okay. I guess I can just work and get to work now. There's no barrier and there's no wall. It's I
Yeah.
have an idea and I can just go towards it. And then she just goes, all right, cool. I guess that's what you're doing now. That's fine. Let me know if you need anything. By the
Yeah.
way, our kids are crying. So can you come help me? It's like, oh, yeah. Okay. Let me go help you. It's just, that's all it is now.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you do it other than you let life happen and you let people prove themselves both ways. But at the same time, eventually you do have to take a risk. You have to let someone, you got to go, hey, I'm going to make this my person. I've been burned before and I'm going to really go in with this person and give them my true self. And fuck, if I get burned, I get burned, and that's life.
Yeah.
But hey, man, if it works great.
Mhm.
But there's no way of knowing unless you do that and are willing to get burned. And I think that a lot of people stop there too. They've had bad experiences and they go, I can't put myself there. Only thing I recommend is if you notice you keep attracting and being with the same goddamn person, stop it. Like, you see the person like that girl dating the same bad guy. It's like, I was so different than everything she had been with, and that she was so different. We had never seen one of each other before. So no matter what, without us knowing, we had broken any cycle that we were in for bad relationships just by being with each other. Because I'd never been with anyone like her before, and she'd never been anyone like me before. So we were in completely new territory. So
Oh, yeah.
we didn't know how it was going to end. Where if I just went with someone who's like my ex or something, you kind of know how that ends. That didn't work for a reason. And if she went with someone like her ex, you know how it's going to end because it didn't work for a reason.
Yeah.
Do something different. If it didn't work before, don't copy, don't rinse and repeat someone who was just like the last person that didn't work. Find something else. It didn't work for a reason, right?
Mm.
And then give it your best when you get comfortable with that person.
Yeah.
That's my relationship advice.
That
But
hey,
who
you
knows?
you, you could start a relationship podcast as well.
No, man, because here's the thing about relationships. It's like you watch these podcasts online and be like, I hate when they go like the girl be like, here's 5 things to worry about your man and watch out when your man does this. And then you'll see a guy podcast, here's how you tell a woman 5 things you have to do, and here's what you need to find a woman. Nobody knows what the hell they're doing. Nobody
Mm,
does. It's people are so unique, so different. Everyone is so different. I know you, I know my wife knows me, but I'm still in my own head. There's a side of me that only I know that's in my own head that I don't even know how to express, and there's a side of her that she doesn't know. And there's thousands of things that can happen to you in your lifetime that'll change and modify you. You cannot read a playbook on relationships from a magazine or from an influencer. You just have to understand, and this will make life easier. Is like I'm dealing with another human being who's having another unique experience. Are they a bad person inherently? No. Is there a miscommunication? Probably. I need to calm down and try to figure this out. And that's it. There's something
mhm.
happening here that one of us aren't getting. And we just got to think through it a bit. And someone's got to initiate this thinking through. Whoever is the least upset has to like bring it down and go like, okay, what is happening here? But that's not a playbook. That's just understanding, oh, there is no playbook. Understanding there's no playbook. And you just somebody has to show patience. So you got to take turns, and whoever takes turn to be like, what is happening in the situation? That like whenever I see a couple and they go like, we don't fight, everything is perfect, I go bullshit, or like something weird's going on,
Mm,
right? You might be very good at like I notice as we get older, when we have arguments, we get over them faster because we're
yeah.
better at it, rather than being angry. Now you're like, okay, now we're over it, we have like it's fine, and we just know each other well. But they still happen because you're conflicting personalities. Yeah, I think a lot of people get into relationships, they're in love, and they expect it to be like the movies forever.
Mhm.
Like, no, love is what happens when all that stuff fades away. Is that the person that you can sit with and be quiet with? Is that the person when they're at their worst, you'll still tolerate them, and when you're at their worst, they'll still tolerate you? The person that you can't have in fights with, but you'll forgive and all the stuff. It's like it's all the other shit outside of that. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But like, you can't give advice. You give advice. The problem is someone will go, "This is the way to do it." They'll stick to the way that you did it, and because of the thousand variables of how people behave, it won't work in their scenario. Then they're assumed that they're in a bad relationship and be like, oh, call it quits, all because they took advice that did not actually apply to them. So it's dangerous. Like, that's why it's like, stop it. All you can say is, here's my experience. Everything's crazy. Do your best. Try to understand each other. Do you understand the core of who that human being is? And if you think they're kind and they're genuine, you want to be with them, then figure out a way to work it out, one of you, and figure out a way to calm down in turmoil situations. Because it's very easy to be when things are going good. It's all about how do people react when shit's not going good. And that's how you have to see how you behave. How you behaving when everything's hard. That's what you got to really pay attention to. And then that's kind of like my really only advice is that.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well,
So this was my podcast. This was my podcast. This is the only episode where I would have on, by the way. It's the only time I'll be talking about it.
that's great. That's very that's pretty interesting because I like to take a not advice but like experience from others. Sometimes it's it's very interesting because it can be in investing, it can be in love, it can be in anything in life. I think that l- listening to people, listening to their experience sometimes can help you in your journey. For example, me, if right now I've just become single after like a 4 years relationship, so like
Yeah.
I've restarted. I'm restarting to just thinking about being myself, just having fun myself, being like just not having to think about different things and like just living my life and becoming great with myself. That's the thing. So it's just I think that yeah, that was very interesting. I love to hear about others personal experience on that side.
You're doing it correct then, because you said you're focusing on yourself right now. And yeah, I know I've heard like that in like other stuff. Girls be like, I'm just focusing on myself now, but it's like that's actually what you're supposed to do. Figure
Yeah.
out who you are, how you operate, and when you're finally comfortable just being alone with yourself, it's a great that's a great opportunity to find someone who fits that person because you don't know who
Mhm.
you are. When I had met my wife, I had a pretty good semblance of who I was as a human being.
Yeah.
'Cause I'd been alone enough time. I'd come out of a long term relationship, very similar to you, but I had a gap, a healthy gap
Mhm.
between where I was just myself and I lived a life and I'd settled into sort of who I was. I've changed dramatically. I'm unrecognizable from that guy now than I was now because I went through a lot. But in that moment, at least settled in on something of what I was, and then she had settled into something of what she was, so we could meet there, right?
Hmm.
You don't want to just jump from one to one, because what you're doing is you're adopting the other person's personality at that point. If you haven't really figured out your own personality, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, they like skiing, now I'm into skiing. It's like, no, you should be like, I hate skiing, it sucks. Like
Hmm.
you should be confident in who your personality is. Like, I don't like doing that, and then seeing if you guys meet. So yeah, do that. And you're so young. It's like, take time, figure out who you are, get comfortable being by yourself. Can you spend a Saturday night at home just reading a book? If
Yeah.
you can do that, good, and be happy with yourself, because you can't even have a good relationship if you don't like yourself. If you're
Hmm.
not cool with yourself, and if you don't have good standards for yourself, you're going to end up in a shitty relationship. If you don't think, I'm a firm believer in this. This is not an egotistical thing at all, and this is zero ego. I firmly believe I'm awesome. Like, I don't have many doubts. When I go and look in the mirror, I go, "You're awesome. You are." A month ago, you're super out of shape. You make mistakes. Sometimes you're happy. Sometimes you're sad. You're a flawed human being, but god damn it, you're awesome, because like, look at you. You've done all this. You try your best, and hey, you're alive. You're awesome. Like, I feel good. I'm confident. I can get. I feel awesome all the time. I don't like anyone who tries to make me feel less than that. So I stay
Yeah.
away from them, because I go, why? I've done too much to have anyone be around me to make me feel less than. Regardless, I feel like if you are someone who makes $20,000 a year, you're awesome. If you're $40,000 a year, you're awesome. If you're 60, you're awesome. If you're living a life that's honest and you're trying your best, you're awesome.
Yeah.
None of the other stuff should make you feel less than. And if you're with someone who, like I said, make you feel less than, good sign. Don't be around that person. The problem is, people don't always feel awesome. And I'm saying you should be awesome when you're depressed. I'm depressed. Life sucks, but I'm fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, everything went wrong, but like, that's what I mean by awesome. Like, hey, no, I'm not that bad of a human being. I'm the decent human being, and I'm trying my best. But goddamn, I'm depressed. I lost my job. Someone passed away. Shit's fall. Every time I do something, I fail. God damn it! But okay, I'm awesome. I'll figure it out. Like, that's, and I've had these thoughts. I've had these thoughts. Like, I'm depressed. I keep failing. But I'm awesome. I'll figure it out. Like,
Yeah.
that's, and it gets, and if, like I said, and going back to, if I were to go, I'm depressed, I failed, I keep failing, I deserve this, I'm just a loser. And then I meet someone who just met the bare requirements for me, who feels like I feel that way about myself. I'll let someone, feel, make me feel worse than that. It's like,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. I'm not gonna let that person enter. You're gonna meet me at you're awesome. Maybe don't say you're awesome. Just be like, you're okay. Like, my wife ain't saying you're awesome to me. She's going, you're decent, right? But she doesn't make me feel less than,
Hmm.
right? She just goes, hey, when I, like I said, I'm starting my company. Yeah, you'll figure it out. Her, that subtle, just like, yeah, you got it. Maybe go like, yeah, I will figure it out. I'm awesome. Right? In my brain, when I translate into that, but that
Yeah.
is a good indicator, right? For friends and family, it's like, don't hang around people who you feel like shit afterwards. Like, why do I suddenly feel less confident? Why, if you feel less capable for some reason,
Hmm.
like, why do I feel like I just can't do this anymore? I was hyped before, but now I feel
Yeah.
like I can't do it. Why do I feel like now the world is hard again? Like, I'm pushing a rock up a hill. Before, I felt awesome. It's like, oh, because I spoke to that person. And it's not about eliminating that. It's just about recognizing that that's how that person makes you feel.
Hmm.
Like, oh, that person makes me feel that way, but I'm not actually that thing. So you can probably still talk to that person, but just mark them in your brain of like, that's the person that makes me feel that way. So it doesn't throw you off when you're going about life. Right. And that's just because you can't avoid people. That's a bad, people go cut off everybody. What kind of human being are you if you're just cutting off everyone who makes you feel bad? But just understand that that person makes me feel bad. But when you're going into a relationship, like an actual spouse, that person cannot be someone you just earmark. They actually have to be a person that does not make you feel like shit every single day, because then you're screwed, right? But if it's like a family member, you can't pick your family. You're gonna have people that just make you feel stupid. Yeah, you just go, all right, I'm hanging out with Aunt so and so now. They're
Yeah.
gonna say something that's gonna piss me off, but it is what it is. And I know that. I'll smile about it, and I actually laugh about it. I go, like, that person's gonna say some crazy stuff, and it is what it is. It's
Mhm.
understanding that,
Yeah,
So
exactly. But
yeah,
that was good, a good experience. And I think it's important, as you mentioned, like the person should not drain you. You need, like, I see your example with your wife is beautiful. I feel it's very beautiful because like she's always been there for you, and like she made you feel in a certain way, like she felt so safe around you, and she had so much confidence towards you that it pushed you to become even more a better person, like to even want more. So that's really like that's for real.
And
That was great.
and I want to be clear though. I'm in a real relationship, which means it's not roses and candle dinners every single day. We are two tired people with kids. We get into
Oh yeah,
arguments. Sometimes she probably wants to basically push me out of a moving car, right? She probably like that's no anyone know like that is the truth of it.
yeah,
But it's yeah, that's called being in a relationship. It's like
yeah.
I guarantee she wakes up going like I hate this man some days. It's like God, I want to strangle him. Yep, but I'll be with him and I'll support him when he needs it. But I
Yeah,
hate him right now. Like it's like that is what it's called being in a relationship. Understanding that, because I think a lot of people be like, it's always perfect. It's just not. It's unrealistic. Um,
exactly.
that's all I got. That's all I got for relationship advice, man.
Yeah, well, it's just like it's some up and down, like it as for life, and that's what yesterday when I talked with my friend, he's with his girlfriend for I think 8 or 9 years now, and he talked me that like he told me pretty much almost the same thing as you. He told me like he was going some through some downs, and he's currently working like to write a book about finance to help people to build also a platform to help people that wants to start investing by themselves by putting them with different specialists and stuff. But he's like he told me like one of his biggest things that helped him throughout this process is the fact that his girlfriend always been she's always been there for him even when everything was not going well and even when he had like multiple problems, and it makes him work even more, and it makes him even more motivated to succeed. So that's something that I'm aspiring for, like a relation. I know that, like as you mentioned, it's not always like red, like it's not always positive, it's sometimes negative, but personally I am aspiring to have eventually a relationship like that, like yours with your wife, like my friends with his girlfriend, something that will push me to become like a better person, like even if sometimes I'll be tired and she'll be tired and like we won't be happy together necessarily at that moment. Why? But later on, like we know that at the end of the day we are like a great team together. I think it's important, and that we both push each other to succeed and to have a good life.
Become the person that you want to attract.
Yeah,
Everything that you want in your partner, you can't be anything less than. A lot of people look for something that they aren't even.
yeah,
It's like, I want this, 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 and this. It's like, well, are you that? I want this. Like, could you give that to the other person? Don't ask for anything from your partner unless you can give it back to them. Don't. If you want your partner to be a great human being, you got to be a great human being. You're gonna have no problems with that, right?
yeah,
From us talking, like for you, it's actually in a different situation. It's like, hey, you need some time for yourself for a bit because you're coming
yeah.
out of a 4-year relationship. That's just like put a pause on everything for a little bit, just as a human being, let your brain relax,
Hmm.
settle into things. But then when you're ready again, it's just like, all right, cool. Who am I? Be another nice, kind person who understands what I'm trying to build, and you can build it together and all that kind of stuff. Like a good example was how you support each other subtly. Is last night I was working till I don't know, like 4 a.m. or something, and
Hmm.
my kids wake up super early, and normally I'd wake up early at 7 a.m. and help out. But I was so tired. My wife didn't even wake me up. I ended up sleeping in today till like 9:30, 10 a.m. all
Hmm.
around there. She has let me sleep. She's sick right now, my wife. She's still taking care of the kids in the morning, letting me sleeping because she knew I was working late to make
Yeah,
up the difference. And then I started my day. It's like, oh God, that little bit of like that huge. She gave me a couple hours more sleep so I could sleep. So because I have a long day ahead of me again. And she's already not feeling well. It's
yeah,
like behind the scenes, it's why I go like, I can do this podcast. Remember, because I was like, because I make enough money, I can do it because she's operating the other half of this whole operation. She's
mm,
filling in the gaps when I like, it's like there's a lot of stuff happening that we're supporting each other. She didn't even mention to me, she didn't tell me. I just noticed that like I was like, oh, nobody like woke me up and I got to sleep in. Right.
yeah.
So like little things like that go a long way. Um, I'm going to wrap it up soon because we've been talking for a while, and most people don't want to listen to anything over 2 hours. But I got to say it's been fantastic talking to you, Louis-Olivier. I want everyone to check out your channel. It's called The North Investor. You guys can check it out on YouTube, especially if you're a young investor. Watch this guy. This guy is basically laying the template of how to do things in your 20s, how to be financially responsible, how to invest. I'm assuming you're gonna start making a lot of real estate content as well. You should, right?
Yeah.
Uh, you should just track that whole journey of how you're going about stuff. I think it's fascinating. You actually know more about it than I do at this point, so I can learn a lot. There's plenty for me to learn from you as well.
Yeah.
Um, outside of that, Adam on all the socials and everything. It was fantastic talking to you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you. I love also I've watched certain of your episodes, and it's really it's a great idea. I think to interview different people with different background. It's really something that I feel like we needed here in Canada, and it's great just to bring everyone together. Also, it's a great mission, and I really appreciate it to have the opportunity to talk with you. You have I feel you have great wisdom as well, and you're a great person. And if you ever come to Quebec, just let me know, and I'll make you eat the best poutine in Canada. I can guarantee you
100%.
that.
100%. I'll be taking you up on that offer 100%. I appreciate it. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.